Hey world,
Hey Dallas,
I'm Alvin,
I'm Charles.
and welcome to Tit for Tat.
This and that.
And what we talking about today, Charles? How's everybody out there in that world?
Hey everybody, happy Sunday. It's almost Halloween. I think what we're talking about kind of goes in with Halloween because you dress up, you wear your mask or whatever,
Oh,
and
I didn't
like
even think about it.
and like what we're talking about, really, you meet people that I guess may have some insecurities about themselves, and they don't always come off, being honest or authentic when meeting them, especially like if you're meeting them on the dating apps or online. People can kind of deceive you in ways, and I think we're going to touch on some of the ways that we know that people do this, and some things we've experienced or just heard of or whatever, or just know to be fact or truth of how people are just not okay with just being themselves. Like they feel like they have to hide behind this persona, of what uh, they think you want them to be or whatever, not just being themselves or whatever. So yeah, basically that's what we're gonna talk about and just all the different ways that they do this.
Social media and the dating apps.
Yeah, and even in person, like when you meet them, they can still be untruthful or whatever. Like you can compliment them on something instead of them just saying, "Oh well, these aren't my real eyes, or this is not my real hair, or these aren't my real teeth, or whatever." And then that's their chance to like come out and just say, "Hey, well, I got these done, or I got this here, or whatever." But they let you stay in that in that mode of not knowing or thinking that it's really their whatever it is, hair, teeth, eyes, whatever, you know uh, and I think they do that because maybe they feel a sense of rejection or acceptance or whatever, or maybe even just pressures from society or whatever. But it's like that was your time to tell me when I made that compliment, and you chose to just go along with like that's how it is.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So like when like just say you first meet somebody
Mhm.
and then you're looking at their teeth.
Right,
Like they
right.
have pretty white
Yeah,
teeth or
yeah,
whatever, or pretty straight teeth or
yeah.
something. And then you say, "Oh, you have some really nice teeth."
Yes.
And instead of them saying,
I got veneers or
would you do that though when you first? I mean, is that necessary? I don't know.
it's not necessary, but
Right.
if someone's asking
Because they
you,
can just say, I think people, in
I
that
see
instance, I would
that.
think they would just say, "Thank you, huh?"
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
Or
just say thank you. And then, once you get to know them or something, then you might say
then
something
it may
like
come out.
that. Yeah, but I don't know if you just come right out and just say, just when you meet somebody and say, "Oh, yeah, that's because that seems kind
Oh,
of
what about
gross.
your hair? Like, oh, I like your hair. I like that
But
style.
do
And
you
then
come
you
out
be
and say,
like,
"I got a weave"?
you can say, oh, I mean, some people. I guess it depends on the person, because some people are open like that. Like they're just open to be like, girl, I got this. This is a weave, or this is whatever,
Really?
or I got this. I got the hookup, or I know who you can go to if you're trying to do the same thing or whatever. And then some people may just be like, well, it's not necessary right now. This has nothing to do with where we are right now, or where I think this might be going. So I don't think I need to just come out and tell you or whatever. But
Right.
then a lot of them may not even think that it's important. They be like, well, I do this for fashion, or I do this for, because I like it. I didn't think that I had to, explain it. But like you say, I think once you start to get closer in your relationship or whatever, you probably do need to go ahead, and because it's gonna come out eventually if you get real close. They're gonna see you without that piece on your head.
Your veil,
Yeah,
uh,
your
your
mask.
what's that called when you show up? Your representative.
Oh yeah, your
When you
representative.
first meet somebody, whatever, that they send their
They send
representative
their representative.
instead of who their really true self is. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Um,
A lot of people do it.
yeah, yeah, because I don't know. these are my teeth, but I'm just using myself for an example. I don't have veneers or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know if some, just, I guess if I did have veneers or uh, or they say they like your hair or something, like that. I mean, I don't think I would just come right out and say that I have veneers. I don't know. Maybe people who have veneers might do that. I don't have veneers, so I don't know. I don't know but even if I had veneers, I don't know if I would just say that. Like I would just take it as a compliment and say, "Oh, well, thank you," or whatever. And then I think as you get to know the person more or whatever, because they may look at them right. A lot of times you can tell people have veneers.
Yeah,
a lot of times you can tell people they have contacts in and stuff like that. It's like with me, I have on contacts, but I don't, my eyes are up under there, but these are clear contacts. These aren't like colored contacts or nothing like that.
Right.
But I don't know if I had colored contacts in or something. I mean, but those are going to be, I guess those are obvious, mostly, especially on like darker skinned people, like dark skinned people, whatever. You kind of know that those are contacts. So I don't know if, you can say I like your eyes, but I don't know if you're doing it to be facetious.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you say,
I
like your eyes, but the person has what, gray or what are they, all the different colors that they have or whatever.
Right, blue.
Whatever. Now, if they're blue, now there are some black people who actually have blue eyes, especially people coming from the Caribbean. Some of them do, and they can be dark skinned also.
Yeah.
But most black people don't have blue eyes and stuff. So you're going to kind of know. Most, mainly unless they really are there, because you can be mistaken.
Right.
But some things that are obvious, maybe you would come right out and say, "Oh, well, these are contacts" or something. If the person had on contacts or whatever, because if you actually say these are, I don't know, I would still probably say, thank you. Right.
Yeah,
thank you as a compliment. And then maybe, later, but if they asked if they're by real eyes, then if that's the real color of your eyes, and then it helps to be honest and say, no, these are contacts or something, like that. Or if they ask if you have veneers. But to me, that's rude. That's rude to come out and ask somebody, do you have veneers if you just first met them or something, and they're not your friends, or or you just meet them on a dating app or the social media, or you meet them out somewhere. I think that's rude to come out and say, "Are those real eyes? Are those your real eyes? Or is that your real hair? Or is that your real teeth? Are those veneers or something?" There's a better way to handle that. I don't think you do that on the first time you meet people or whatever. I think after you get to know a person, you can say, maybe you can say something or like that, or the person may volunteer it themselves. But to me, that would be rude to, and then I think the person is being facetious or being messy, or whatever. But there's other ways where, if you meet somebody on the dating apps or social media, or if you meet them in person, or whatever, there's different ways to be authentic without having to lie about who you are. Or put, you can still put forth your best self. Right. You know what I'm saying? But long as that's who you are, long as that's the truth. You don't put your best self, and that's not your best. That's not really who you are. You're actually you are sending your representative, or you're just a fake person who lies and stuff like that. Anyway, all the time. Eventually, that's going to show. You can't keep up with that forever. But I think you can meet people and then put forth your best self, and then as long as that's authentically you. Right.
I have no problem with you bringing your representative, because everyone wants to show their best, self. However, I just don't think it should be misleading. It shouldn't be misleading, and it shouldn't be to where you're being dishonest or whatever, because we all have shortcomings. We all at times feel like we have areas of insecurity, and I think once you make an environment where everybody can be comfortable and just be themselves, I think you'll see more authenticity or whatever, people being authentic, because they don't feel like they have to hide anything. But if you're the type of people, or you have the type of environment where you're always judging, you're always talking about people and stuff like that, then people, I think, can kind of be closed to, you know, rendering certain things about themselves because they think, you know, you're gonna pass judgment on me or whatever. So yeah.
So I think it's pronounced Stolsu, and I don't know if it's a male or a female, but it said they say, why date when you can buy intimacy?
Buy it.
Yeah, so I'm you know, but then they also say at my age, which I don't know how old they are, but they say at my age, I think it is cheaper to pay for intimacy than to date. So they're talking about not even dealing with apps, probably not even dealing with the apps or social media, you know, like meeting people or anything like that. They just, you know, I guess they'll just hire an escort or something. You know what I mean? Or I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. But if you're not, they said yes, you pronounced it correctly. Thanks. At a certain age and or experience, women are no longer able to love in a sincere and vulnerable manner. Are you a male or are you a female of saying that statement? Because I can't tell by your screen name. But it said that's interesting. At a certain age and or experience, women are no longer able to love in a sincere and vulnerable manner. So if I gather from that, you know, it sounds like that could either be, it's a male.
Yeah, he's a male. Well, thanks for joining us.
It says, yes, you pronounced it correctly. And then massage parlors and strip clubs in most big cities will do extras consistently. So that's, okay. That's like bathhouses and stuff, right? Massage parlors, spas and bathhouses and stuff, I guess. But yeah, okay. He says he's a male. So
so it seems like so he must be a guy of a certain age, and at this point in his life, he's dated, and at this point, it's like, why waste my time with getting to know people, and then you find out there's something that we're a mixed match or whatever, and I wish we would have known this before, so it's not like I have wasted time. So to avoid all that, let me just pay to get what I want and not be disappointed, I guess, is what he's saying. And I mean, if that works for you, some people don't want to jump over the get to know you stage, the falling asleep on the phone stage, all that little stuff that comes with getting to know people and dating, going to the park, having a picnic, going on dates and movies or whatever. Some people still want that. But then you have people like this guy, Dosu, that feels like, you know what, I want to bypass all that and just get what I want. Get this instant gratification because this is really what I want. Just bypass that. And I mean, yeah, to each his own. That's your choice.
Yeah, it sounds like because he mentioned age and stuff like at a certain age. So it sounds like it sounds like that. Been there, done that. Like he done probably been through either marriage. He's probably been through marriages or other relationships, and just probably the stuff that went on and on. Because sometimes they can be toxic and narcissistic. So. Or whatever, but it sounds like, he may have even tried the dating apps and and then on social media, because some of the social media sites also have dating inside of their stuff too. But mainly they're really separate, maybe except for Facebook. I know they have something in there that's dating. There might be some other ones out there.
Yeah.
But most of the social most social media is different as far as dating apps go. Right. They have similarities, but they are a little different. Right. But it sounds like and he's mentioned women a lot. So I'm assuming that it's a woman that, he's probably heterosexual, or whatever, maybe heterosexual, bisexual, or he could be gay or whatever, you know. Um, but it sounds like he's had some issues with women, by his earlier comment, that at a certain age they just are not. It sounds like they're just not into it no more.
Right,
Exactly. With sex and whatever. They may have the emotional. They might have the emotional side to it or whatever. But they probably don't. From what I'm gathering from him is they don't have the sexual energy to maybe keep up or want to be put forth that much sexual energy into the relationship and stuff no more. And then he suggested that you could probably, with him, or if anybody else out there, there's other places you can get it.
Right. And then this last statement too, they are no longer interested in building a life with someone. There's a life that's already been established. So it seems like these women, I don't know. I guess at this point, and I guess it's the age and maybe the mindset. At this point, some women may feel like, I tried living with someone, I tried dating with someone, and it just didn't work out. So that's what I'm not, I'm not interested in that anymore. So if you're looking to like build something, I'm not at this point. So I guess he's probably running into that to where people are like, no, I don't want to start anything, or I don't want anything long term, pretty much, because it could be past experiences, they could have been hurt, let down, or just misunderstood, or whatever happened to where that caused them to have this type of decision as far as saying, I don't want to build a life with someone. We could be friends. We could check in with each other every now and then. So yeah.
Yeah, he says their love has already, talking about women, he says their love has already been established with prior lovers. And that's but that's with anybody,
Especially
people, especially if you're young, and then as you get older, if you've been through a lot of relationships or even just dating and stuff, it can become exhausting, to a point. But if you're meeting people, and then you're trying to build something with them or whatever, and then the woman or anybody, if they're just not really, they just want that emotional connection, maybe the financial and emotional connection, but they're not really into the sexual connection or something, like that. Or that's interesting, because he says just to avoid dying alone. Like some people, they want that companionship, and then somebody there. That's what we talk about in our dating and aging thing and stuff too, But in some of our other stuff, we talk about relationships with that, about dying alone. And so some people, they will get together just for that, or whatever. But
and like he said too, he doesn't find this in women that are married or have children, and I can see that, because even though they may not be married, they're still connected some kind of way. And especially if you have children, you're still going to be all connected. And a lot of women are that's still a vital part in their life. Like just because I'm divorced with him doesn't mean I'm not going to still be involved, every now and then with them or whatever. And so I guess he feels like the women like that, it's like they're playing both sides. You know what I mean? I want time, but then you have a lot of time that you're giving to your ex or even the children that you guys have together or whatever. And I don't really get anything or whatever. And it's hard to build something. And those women probably don't even want that, because it's like, I don't want that. I've tried it. I've done it. I don't want that. I'll take a friend, but then he's probably like, I don't want to just be your friend.
Right. And he said he's never been in love, or he's never been in love, and he's never been married. Yeah, sounds like he's had some, like some rough things going on there, or he might be the one who's been rough to the other people. You never know. I mean, it can go both ways. It could have been, he could have met some toxic people, or he could be toxic. You never know. or they both could have been toxic, or they just people he met may have just not been a match. A lot of times that's with dating, especially with dating apps and social media and stuff, like that too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people you meet on these apps and stuff, like that. You have to swipe a whole lot, or look at a whole bunch of different profiles, which to me is a waste of time. To me, that's just a lot of wasted time that I could be doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have to swipe a lot, in order to, and then, and see who matches with you, right? Or whatever. And then even then they can be toxic too. Even if sometimes you think you met your match and stuff like that, if you can go out and actually meet them and date them and stuff like that, and it turns out they're toxic or whatever, or you're toxic,
right? Exactly.
Or you're both toxic,
right?
But,
yeah.
It just depends. Sometimes you just can't be together, or it's not the match you think it was on these apps and stuff, like that. I don't know his situation. I'm not saying he's toxic or they were toxic or whatever, but there was some type of dynamics going on there, however he met him, or whatever, may not have met him in the apps or anything like that, or on social media. He may have just meet him out where in his everyday life or somewhere out in the, or whatever. But it sounds like he, what he likes to do is go, go out to the, I guess the massage places or whatever. And that's the easy way too, to get you. That's the easy way to get you, to get sex, whatever, to get, to get the physical part taken care of, or whatever. But there's more to dating and relationships and stuff than just the physical.
Right.
But if a person is only into the physical or whatever and don't want to deal with the rest, then yeah, I guess massage parlors, bathhouses, or wherever you go to get that, wherever he says, whatever, and a lot of people do, a lot of people do, let's see, he says, I put my career first and avoided long-term frustration, having now find myself with financial stability, but a lack of romantic. And well, that happens a lot too. Sometimes you prioritize that, and then like a lot of younger in the gay community. I don't know so much in the heterosexual community, but in the in the queer community, especially among gay men, they say that about older guys. You prioritize. When they're younger, they prioritize this or they prioritize that, and they don't, or they're out just sleeping around with a bunch of people. They're sleeping around, and then all of a sudden they find themselves older or old, and then it's harder for when you're older to, in the gay community, it's harder for for some, it's harder for them to find a romantic connection, or a sexual connection or anything like that once they're older. But sometimes when you prioritize something earlier in your life, it could come back to, quote unquote, haunt you later, or whatever. So, it may be that's what you did, and now you're looking for this, and you may find it, and you may not find it now in your older life or whatever, because
it's like with everything, there's consequences. So if that's something that you have prioritized, then that's something that's gonna go lacking, or something that's gonna, not be as important or whatever. And sometimes that's something that you have to evaluate before you make those type of decisions. Like at the risk of having a great career or whatever, I may have to not have the relationship that I would like to have. I might not be as available as some people want me to be, because I'm, trying to get all this together, make sure that, financially, I'm good or whatever. So there's a price. I think that's why we need to try as much as we can to live a balanced life,
right?
And try
you should be able to juggle
that,
and you can't tell people how to live, right? Whatever stuff, but people prioritize what they want. But you should be able to juggle a relationship, dating in a relationship, or if it turns into a marriage or whatever, you should be able to juggle that with the person you're with. They should support each other, so y'all so you can juggle
Mhm.
those different, that or whatever. And then eventually, I mean, it could be rough early on with finances and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but eventually, or careers, but eventually, you know, when you two really connect, if you connect emotionally and physically and stuff too, all that to me should come together,
Right.
and you should be able to work that out with each other,
Mhm.
where it's not, where you don't have to, where your career doesn't take over your whole life, and then
Right.
you don't have nobody in there to, to find love or anything
Right.
like that.
Companionship.
But this is interesting right here. He says the negative part, however, is that the experiences are hollow. That's true. They're hollow, hollow, and then they are physically gratifying but emotionally empty. This goes into our topic today, because it's just like on the apps and stuff, like that.
Mhm.
When you're on those apps, or social media too, but when you're on the apps, yeah, it can be physically gratifying once you go, if you pick somebody up off the apps,
Mhm.
or it could be physically emotionally gratifying if you're on those apps. I guess if you're sitting there chatting with a whole bunch of different people, it could build your ego up, but it's a false build up. The gratification, even with you pick somebody up for sex, whatever. And if that's what you're constantly doing, but you say you're looking for a relationship or you want love and stuff, but you're constantly on the apps and stuff, picking up somebody for sex. And then when y'all do meet or whatever, yeah, that's gratifying. The sex is gonna, if you had a good time, but the sex could be great or whatever, but that only lasts right then, really.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because eventually you're that emotional attachment that you get with somebody when you actually are in a relationship with, or in relation with them or something, that's different than just getting sex,
Mhm.
and people, you do what you need to do, I guess, to fulfill your sexual need, long as it's not something that's illegal or hurting somebody or whatever. But the sex, once it's over, then you're back to where you were again. You're back there scrolling on the apps,
Mhm.
seeing who you can either get some sex from again, the next day or whenever,
Mhm.
or you're back there scrolling, looking for that emotional connection from people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To fulfill that void that's in you or whatever, of loneliness or you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that kind of feeds into
Well, to me, I mean, if you're looking for more than that, then you're looking in the wrong places.
right.
So to me, his whole situation is you need to find like-minded people. So whatever you've been doing, clearly it's not working. If you're looking for that more of a relationship type, and since you don't have that, you're, I guess, replacing it with the sexual stuff, which is fine. I think you should have both. I think you should have the relationship and the sex part, but hopefully you can find it in that one person and not have to do it over, over the sex over here and then the emotional part over here. Find it in that one person. So maybe finding people that want the same thing, because clearly you're meeting all the women that don't want that.
Right.
They're more established. They've been there, done that. And it may even be single women that are like that too. They don't want to be settled down and, like they say, chained down or whatever.
A lot of younger ones now, they're not going to settle down early.
No, they don't want to do that. Be like their grandmother and just be in a loveless marriage. They've seen that and they don't want to repeat that again. So I think you just have to find that right person. There's different groups maybe in your area that you can find out about and attend those. It may be, it may not be 100%, but at least it's another way of meeting people if that's what you're, wanting or whatever.
Right.
But then there's some people that just want the sex thing. It looks like he doesn't. That's not all he wants. Like
sounds like that's not all
he wants more, but it's just fine.
He just haven't had any luck with it, and he done gave up.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he focused so much probably on his career, and then while he was focused on his career, maybe he was still out there he messing around with different women casually, or whatever. And then as he started getting older, and that happens with a lot of people, whether you're gay, straight, queer, or whatever. You know, as you get older, you want that intimacy, connection, emotional connection. You know, the bonding and stuff. You know, like that. That's but sometimes you can't guarantee that you're going to get that in your older. You can't even guarantee it in your earlier life. But most people do. Most people can find stuff in their earlier life, but sometimes you just got to go through you go through so much dating, or sometimes a few relationships until you can find that one. I wouldn't put every woman, I don't put every woman in that category that he was talking about,
right?
Because there are those women that are out there that's like that, but I wouldn't put most of them in that category, or whatever, and sometimes if you're constant, if it's a constant thing where you got to go to the bathhouses, bookstores, and massage parlors and stuff, like that, I mean, I guess that could be an occasional thing, but if that's something that's on the regular, that can turn into like an addiction type stuff or whatever. And then even if you do find somebody that you connect with emotionally and stuff, you may not even be able to stop that type of stuff. Because, not saying he's an addict or anything, like that. But a lot of people have, when they start that a lot, it's just like social media and the apps. People get addicted to that. They say it's like 10%. 10% in the United States. In the United States, they say it's about 10% of people who are addicted to social media and the dating apps and stuff. Like that, that's a good. That's quite a few million. Lots of what is that, about 20? Maybe about 13 to 20 something million people in the world, in the United States, that are addicted to these apps and social media. And the same thing can happen with these massage parlors and stuff, like that. Once you get in the habit of doing that, it can be hard to even get into a relationship with somebody emotionally, and sometimes even physically, because you're so used to doing that type of stuff. It can turn into an addiction. And then you don't want to bring that into a relationship, because that's going to harm it eventually. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'll put this up here. It says our real life experience is contradictory to the curated, consistent life that we display on social media platforms. Like people who are, if they're constantly, if that's their life, where they, or they get nervous and stuff because they ain't on social media or whatever, but they're on there, putting their best life out there. Some people won't even put their bad stuff that goes on in their life, and then some people,
I'm okay with that. And
some people put that out there too, because some people just put it out there because they want sympathy and they want all the likes and stuff, because that feeds them, that makes them, that can give them a adrenaline rush, or whatever. But it, and it says cultivating authenticity requires that we live first and post later, rather than creating an identity that is in direct reflection of an idealized self. Put that energy towards living an ideal life. You know what I'm saying? And then, like on social media, they're creating. There's a lot. It's even higher than the 10% of the people who are addicted to social media. But as far as like what they get on there and post, and the stuff that they say, on there to get you to like them or to notice them, or whatever, they're putting forth this fake identity, or whatever. Because there's ones that we know and we've met. You know what I'm saying? We know these people and we know them in real life, but on social media, they done built themselves up, and some people put too much information out there on themselves. I mean, everything that they do, everywhere they go, anything they say, whatever, or anything they read or whatever happens in their life, they're putting it on social media, and the people out there, just because you're putting it out there, that'll be the people who are out there read it, believe it, and then that doesn't mean that they got your best interests at heart when you put that stuff out there. Or just because they comment on your stuff and like it or whatever, doesn't mean they like you, doesn't even mean they like what you put out there. Some people are addicted to this stuff, and they're going to like and love and do stuff regardless, because it feeds them, and it doesn't mean that these people have your best interests at heart, because most of the time you don't even know most of the people that's out there on social media and the apps and stuff, we have no idea who they are. You know, they can hide behind and be whatever they want to be.
And it depends on what type of people you're talking about too, because like if you're talking about, because there are some people like that's their job, so their job is to go out and do this and do that, and you know they're telling you whatever. I'm okay with that, but if I get in a relationship and you lead me to believe that you know you're something that you're not, then that's what I have a problem. But if this is your job where you know I'm jumping off this building and then I'm over here and we're shopping and we're in Europe today, or you know you're doing all that, then I get it. You know, this is, you've made a job out of this and you're getting paid to, you know, show your life and bring people into it. So, but when you're just, you know, just regular old Joe and I'm just trying to get to know you and date you or whatever, I want to know that I'm with someone that's being authentic and is not just trying to show me somebody that, you know, they think I'm gonna like or that I approve of, because they have some insecurities about themselves, and so they don't want those to be shown or revealed or whatever. I would have an issue with that or whatever. So it depends on the type of person and what they're trying to get out of social media, because some people just basically just trying to get paid. You know, I'm doing this, I feel like I'm good at this and I'm getting paid, so I'm sharing my life, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, and some people just the good, which is fine. That's what you want to do or whatever, because you know I don't want everybody in my business, no way, but I'm not going to deceive you though, you know what I mean? I'm just because I'm showing the times where I'm smiling and whatever doesn't mean I don't cry, doesn't mean that I don't get hurt or whatever. But I don't feel like I need to show the whole world that. But if I do invite you into my world, I will show that, which I'm not going to hide it from you, because I do want to open up to people in my life that I care about and that I value their opinions, you know.
So it says social media gives us the perception of access to people's lives without relationship with them. So we think we know people based on what they choose to share. It's a warped view. There are a million layers to a person that will never be revealed by the posts they make. Yeah. And that's true, because you know you can't get to know me through social media, you know, or through a dating app. You know, there's no way, you know, I'm not that. Like what he had put in his thing, I'm not that hollow. You know, there's a lot of intricacy, how do you say it, to me, you know, or whatever. Now, how you perceive me when you first meet me, that's on you, you know, whatever. If you perceive me to be something that I'm not, you know, or whatever, or you put me somewhere into a position or something that I'm not, if you want to think that I'm, you know, whatever, without getting to really know me, you know, or whatever, then that's on you. That's not on me. Right. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, a lot of people through social media and stuff, you know, that's their representative that they're putting on there, you know, or they're on there just liking everything or loving everything. And then that's only a short high for them too, you know, and they got to keep getting back on them in order to keep, you know, feeling that little rush that they get from being, you know, or people liking them or whatever. And to me, that's inauthentic. You know, whatever. But it says real life expression in relationship, authenticity means openly communicating your needs, opinions, and emotions without fear or judgment. While on social media, it means sharing stories, thoughts, and expressions that reflect your true life, even if they aren't always perfect. You know, and then with social media, a lot of people would, you know, like Facebook and stuff, you know, like that, but even Instagram and things, you know, like that. But with Facebook, you know, they're saying things that's just not them. Right. You know, or they're on there inside, you know, they're in different things on there, building themselves up, or, you know, like what we were, you know, talking about their trade and stuff, you know, like that, you know, and they're really not trade, you know what I'm saying? Or it's just you know, or they're masculine, you know, putting all this stuff in there. And then when you meet these people, or if you know these people, you know, that's not them. Right. You know, whatever. and then it goes back to, why be authentic,
Right.
because even though we don't know most of the people on social media on these apps and stuff, like that, but there are the cases where you do meet these people, meet somebody, whatever, and then if you are inauthentic on through these apps, and building yourself up, saying you're this, saying you're that. Well, what happens whenever the two shall meet?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and that goes back to your, I mean, if I go back to your thing where you was talking about like people are on there with their jobs and stuff, like that too. Sometimes that is wrong too. Sometimes they have to get on there and lie or whatever for their jobs in order to draw you in, and they'll use the apps or social media and stuff for that too.
Right.
And these people, just like the algorithms, like even the algorithms, they're there to hook you. That's what they're there for, to find out what you're doing and as much information about you, so that they can get you addicted to their sites or their stuff, like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even realize that's what these algorithms are doing.
Right. It's like commercials.
Right.
They just show the commercials to draw you in to go, have you go into the store and buy the product or get online and order it or whatever. They're trying to make a purchase. They're trying to get a purchase out of you. They want your money. But so when people do come off as as a liar or inauthentic or whatever, how do you rebuild that trust?
Are you talking about like if you're dating, like you were dating them, or you're actually in the relationship and you find out that somewhere down the line you find out that a lot of stuff they told you was a lie, you mean, or what you saw in their profile? I think during the dating phase, you can find a lot of that out during the dating phase, unless the person is a what's the liar when you lie, when everything, you just lie a lot. You can lie.
Like a habitual liar.
Habitual liar, yeah. If you're a habitual liar, then yeah, you can fool people, because you're so good at lying and covering up and manipulating people or something, like that. It doesn't matter how secure the person is, the other person is, or how they think about themselves, or if they think they can't be drawn in or manipulated. Anybody can be drawn in and manipulated by a habitual liar, and somebody who's always, who never presents their, doesn't present their true self when you meet them and stuff, like that. You can be drawn into that type of stuff. But hopefully you can find this stuff out during the dating phase. Sometimes you may not find it on the first, like the first or second date or something, like that. But as you started, if you give yourself time and date, and then just not hop into a relationship real quick, then you can probably start deciphering that through the dating process to see that, well, this doesn't add up. This is a red flag. This is a red flag. This is a, this might be I don't know the colors of the flags, but maybe this is a purple flag, or or whatever. Or maybe this person is telling the truth, what they put in there. Yeah. I would think, though, just from dating myself, just dating and stuff, like that. I would think just, you can, don't trust the stuff 100%. Don't trust the dating apps, the social media stuff, what people are posted about themselves or whatever. You can, it's somewhere like a balance, somewhere in the medium. This. I'm not saying your profile is incorrect or you're lying or whatever, but have that in the back of your mind. There's a chance that none of this is true, or only some of this is true, or whatever. And then once you get into the dating aspect of it, if you do meet the person and you get into the dating aspect, ask questions. Let them ask you questions without getting defensive or hurting your feelings, or you think somebody's being nosy, or whatever. But that's what the dating phase is for, is to ask questions and get to know each other, so you can figure out if you are compatible. You know what I'm saying? Because with those dating, with the dating apps, there's so much lying and stuff going on. And I mean, these people are just and it's not everybody,
Right.
But I have an issue with people who get on when they're in the dating apps and they say they're only on there looking for friends. Well, this is a dating app. It says it's a dating app, but technically, really, they're not even. There's some of them out there that are legit dating apps. But if you go to if we're talking about just say the queer community or whatever, Grinder, Jacked, and stuff, like that. Their names alone tells you that these are not really for dating, right? These are really sexual hookup apps and stuff like that. Now, some people can find somebody to date in there or end up with a relationship and stuff, like that. But they're not mainly dating apps. The people who invented them, they tell you they weren't meant for dating. Right. They're really meant for sexual hookup acts. I mean, the people who invented Grinder and Jack and stuff, the name tells it alone. Grinder. Does that sound like that's a dating app?
Right.
Jack.
Right.
Does that sound like that's a dating app? You might, what's the ones where they could be legitimate dating apps? Christian Mingle or something, like that. That sounds more legit, even though they're in there doing some of the same stuff that they do in these in some of these other apps and stuff. But there's certain apps that are legit, but they're those ones that you got to pay for, and then they ask a whole lot of information in order just for you to be on their apps and stuff, like that. And you got to meet this criteria, that criteria, this criteria, and nobody can hit you up or whatever until it's this. Those can be, legit.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some outliers in there where they done lied and did a whole bunch of stuff too. But those can be legit. But Grinder, Jack and stuff, people don't want to hear this, but those are not dating apps. They're basically sexual hookup apps. And that's what most people go into them for. Now, some of them people are looking, but if you go in there and say, if you put in your profile, I'm only looking for friends, then you're on the wrong app. People don't want to understand the ones who invented them will tell you that, these are really hookup apps.
Yeah, but at the same time, just because you created it to be something don't mean I have to use it that way. I think it's going to be hard in this day and time to just find a friend on an app, especially on those type of apps, because most people are not looking for that. But there are some, so they say, or whatever, and you can attempt to do that and see how it works for you. Because I'm pretty sure some have probably.
Hey, Jay and Joe.
Hey, y'all. Some people have. Because I've met, it was, sometimes they start out as something else and then they end up just being friendships or whatever. But, sometimes you may find that. I always say it's whatever you make it to be or whatever. Because I don't use it for one night stands or whatever, but I know a lot of people do. And then some people are like, well, I'm not using it to find a dating relationship, but then some people do or whatever. But like I was saying, so when you find out that someone has lied to you, I think it's a good thing for that person to get to a point where they admit to it that they've lied and take full responsibility. I think there needs to be transparency where you guys really get to the nuts and bolts to why this person felt that they had to lie and not be their authentic self, because what is it about you that you don't like, or that you're ashamed of, maybe that you felt like you couldn't just tell me or whatever. Get to the bottom of that. I think also watching their behavior, see if it's consistent, now that the truth has come out, let me see, because what I'm afraid of is if you lied to get me or whatever, when do you stop lying? Are you going to continue to lie, or was that it or whatever? So now, that trust is wavering because I don't know. So I think to rebuild that, we definitely need to have those conversations. We need to be transparent. I need to know that you understand that was wrong, and you don't have to do that. So we always need to have that open communication. So I think the trust can be rebuilt again, but there's steps to it, and until you're comfortable, I would say keep them, on that little leash or whatever, because this is your life, and you don't want to go down this long road of all these lies and deception or whatever, because it plays on your mental, it plays on your heart, and then you get bitter, and then you having to go to the sex parlors and or whatever. But it's always in the back of your mind, are they gonna lie again? Are they gonna lie again or whatever? And so you kind of have to put them on this little testing, whatever, to rebuild that.
So when you're dating somebody, just say you're dating somebody and you met them off the apps, right? You met them off one of the apps and you dating them or whatever. Does it matter what the lie is, or is just lying a no period? I mean, because I know we're human, and all humans have lied and do lie to a certain extent. But it just to me, and I know people want to put their best self forward. So does it matter what the lie is? So say you're dating them and then it leads to a relationship and you get in a relationship and you find out certain stuff. Are some lies excusable than other lies or whatever?
It can be at times, because your lie could have been because you were fearful or insecure. And maybe that's something that I could help. First you need to deal, initially your mind has to be changed, because if you see yourself like that, you're going to always see that, because I can't change the way you see yourself, but I can help you understand how I see you, and encourage you and compliment you on those things or whatever. But if the lie was an attempt to like manipulate me or deceive me, then yeah, I think that's where I have a problem with it. So I guess it's like, what is the motivation behind the lie? Well, did you lie because you were insecure or fearful or whatever? And maybe we can talk that through and maybe get over it. Or were you lying because you were trying to manipulate me or get me to do something, or be deceiving or whatever? So yeah.
Yeah. It depends on what it is or whatever. If it's something, it depends on what it is. If it's something that's going to cause some harm, then them little lies sometimes, I guess, because I've been told of little lies or whatever. It doesn't seem to affect me the way something that's going to actually cause me harm.
Right.
But sometimes those little lies, where they told something or whatever, sometimes you start combining them and they turn into something that's big, and then it's something that does cause harm, or it can be detrimental to the relationship or whatever. But yeah, I guess it just depends on. I mean, like what we talked about earlier in the thing, just because somebody lied about they had like somebody asked them what their eyes. I mean, they told them they had pretty eyes, and the person didn't tell them that those were colored contacts or whatever, or people who have veneers or something, like that. Just because they don't tell you that they have veneers or whatever, I don't think that that's I don't think that that's bad or whatever, because I don't think people should have to tell you that type of stuff when you first meet them and you're dating them or whatever. But if, I guess if somebody say you have pretty teeth or whatever, you just take it as a compliment or whatever. Like I told you, I don't have veneers, but if somebody told me, you got a pretty smile, you got pretty teeth or whatever, I just take it as a compliment. But I don't see, if I did have veneers, me not telling them that I have veneers, I don't see that as something that's detrimental, or the person's not being upfront about who they are when you first meet them and stuff. And, when you first meet them, whatever. And I don't think people should have to put all of that in their social media profile or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
But it says a study from Cornell University, researchers uncovered a significant disconnect between how individuals perceive themselves and how they are perceived by others through their social media posts, whatever. A lot of people post a lot of this great stuff about them and stuff, like that. And people ain't believing
Right.
what they put on there just because you build yourself up or
Right.
make yourself out to, be this wonderful, great person, or, you're, like what we talked about last week, people putting on there like how much income they make, making, like in something like on, I don't know, in the dating apps, so they are putting that in the dating apps, but on social media, people will, because people don't know them, you know what I'm saying? And they might be like, oh, I make, I just got this job and I'm making this type of money, or whatever. I'm making 200K,
Right.
And stuff, like that. And I mean, it's a lie.
And it might not be on the app, but it may come out in conversation, and it's like, why? Why'd you tell me that?
Right.
It's not true.
Right.
But I think because of pressures, they feel that they have to lie to be accepted, or to fit in or whatever. I need to be, in this certain tax bracket or this, certain salary range or whatever. And it's like, no, I came in with my own money. I didn't come in thinking that, you were going to be my sugar daddy or whatever. I mean, if we do get in a relationship, of course, there will be that conversation about finances and maybe how we come together and whatever, share whatever. But right now, I don't care. I don't care about your money and stuff like that. And I would say too, when you're in these type of relationships, listen to your gut. When you feel like, wait a minute, this is too good to be true, like listen to it, because sometimes that is, just you being who you are, a spiritual person or a person that you just have a sense of these things sometimes. And I would listen to those. You have that uneasy feeling. I would listen to that and maybe bring it up later if it's really a big issue, but in a way where it doesn't, come off offensive or whatever. But sometimes you have to pay attention to their behavior, because sometimes they'll switch up on you or whatever. But just know that when you feel like there's something about this, listen to that. I would listen to that, because sometimes we stay longer than what we should because we don't listen, Yeah,
I think in these so-called dating apps, or sexual hookup apps, it's really what some of them are.
Yeah.
I think in those, when I was on Jacked, there was so many people. You can tell that some of them you can just tell that they're lying or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you're out somewhere, I done been in a restaurant and stuff, because I was telling you the other day, when we was out eating one time, and a person who I used to talk to in the app, never met him, but what the way their profile was, the stuff that was in there. When I saw him walk into the restaurant, because I recognized the picture, their face and stuff, like that. But when I walked in there, everything from here down was totally different than what they had in their what they had in their profile. And then so what do you think about that? Just like, say you met somebody you were talking to them for a while on the app, and then y'all met for a date, like you went out on a date, and then they showed, just say they showed up for the date, and then they didn't match anything that they said in their profile, or just say half of it was off and half of it was on. How do you feel about that?
I would feel like I've been catfished or deceived. It's just not. It's not a good feeling to have all this build up as far as that that excitement of meeting someone new. You're thinking like this could be the one, or you have high hopes for it. You think this is gonna just go off really great. You probably have already told your friends about it, like, "Oh, I'm gonna meet this guy. I'm really excited about it. Fingers crossed. Set a prayer up for me or whatever." So you got all this adrenaline pumping or whatever. You're excited about this. Then this Negro comes in and don't even look like what they presented themselves to look like. So yeah, it would be a huge letdown. It would be like, I know you effing lying. I know you lying, because no, And so yeah, I would be let down. I don't know if I would even stay. Um, I would get out my feelings to them. I would hey, you look so, it somewhere in the conversation it's like, you look totally different than what you showed me. I'm really surprised that, you had enough nerve to even come through that door and try to deceive me like I'm Stevie Wonder or something. Like I can see, and I can see that what you are showing in front of me is not what you showed me on the phone. So I would encourage you, it would go like this, but I would encourage you not to do this ever again because it's just wrong. You wasted my time. You wasted my gas. I got all dressed up and whatever for this just to be disappointed because you have some kind of insecurities about yourself. Mm-hmm. Or whatever, and that's something you need to go home and deal with. Seek professional help.
And is that what you think it is? You think it's insecurity and stuff? You like the person is insecure, or they feel that the fear of rejection or something is why they put all of this in their profiles. It's really not true or whatever.
I think some of them they probably know things about themselves that rubs people the wrong way. And because of that, they want to try their best to hide those things. I think they also want to try to conform to what society thinks is beautiful or successful or all this or whatever. So I think it could be a myriad of ways of why they do these things or whatever. But I think that's one of the top ways. Is something that they feel insecure about.
Yeah, and I think it's also sometimes people have been rejected so much, and then in these apps and stuff with all that scrolling and constantly looking at profiles and stuff, like that, people are comparing themselves a lot.
Yeah,
even in social media, like say Instagram and stuff, like that. Mm-hmm. People are, they're comparing themselves so much to what they see in these pictures and stuff, and most people are not that. Right. Whatever you're just seeing when you're on Instagram or what these posts and stuff that people, this fabulous life and this fabulous everything that people are posting, and these pictures and these pics and stuff that are what is it called when the filters, all these filters and stuff on there where there's no, you can't see no blemishes or everything's contoured right, the smile, everything looks perfect and stuff like that. That's really not those people. Those are airbrushed or filtered stuff, to make them really look like that. Now they can still look good in person, right? Whatever, but that perfect is not. That's not really them. And when we get on there and start comparing ourselves to that, then that lowers that can lower our own self-esteem. Because we feel like we don't measure up. And I think with these apps and stuff, I think even with social media, I think people get on there. A lot of them get on there and make themselves out to be something that they're not, or making more money and doing something like that because they're comparing themselves to what they see, even though it's not real, it's not like real, right? Whatever they're comparing, and then they end up with low self-esteem, and then so they'll end up going into their own stuff, their own profiles and stuff, like that, and say, oh, I'm 170 pounds, but you're really 400 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm not getting on anybody about weight, age or whatever. Or they'll say I'm masculine, or whatever. When they're actually feminine, or somewhere in between. But for some reason, we know the reasons, but they want to, because we know in the gay community, the queer community, especially among men, masculinity sells. Masculinity is at the top of the food chain in the queer community, and if you got muscles or you're built or you look or you're beautiful or whatever and stuff, like that, or got this fat ass or or whatever, or whatever, we know that a lot of queer men, gay men go for that type of look or whatever, and femininity can fall farther down on the list. So they'll, even though they know that they're feminine, or they're overweight, what society considers overweight. We know what overweight is, but society, whatever. So they'll go in there and make themselves out to be, something that they're not. You know what I mean? they'll go in there and make themselves to be something that they're not. And then so the way they are, I got this little picture up here, but the way that, like, you go into Instagram, and then you'll see some of these guys that are muscular, or whatever, and that might not even be them. You know what I'm saying? Or that might have been them 10 years ago.
Right.
And now that might not, or some of these women, they'll have, with the, they can go in and with these filters and stuff, and the nose can be contoured, everything, the hair, everything, they can have everything on this fake.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can have fake hair, fake eyelashes, fake nails. Right. You can have makeup and stuff on or whatever. We all know that when you take all that stuff off, you don't look like that under, and there's nothing wrong with your natural self, or whatever, and there's nothing wrong if you want to put all of that stuff on and stuff, like that too. But, it's, with all of that, it's still a persona that you're putting on. Right. Once you start putting on, or men or females, if you start putting on makeup, anything you put on to cover up your true self, and we all do that. We do that even going to the gym. It enhances your appearance and stuff, because this, it's not our true self. Right. And then we did something to, make our bodies look like that. Right. And then you can do that. You do that for a reason. Whatever. And it's just like me. Like I said in one of our other lives before. When I was younger, we did it. We started going to the gym because, we in our mind, those guys with the body and all that stuff, they were getting the, they were getting the dates. They were getting the attention, people were going for them and stuff. So that was in our mind. They have issues and problems too. Right. And it ain't always like what we think, like they can have anybody, because you can't. Right. And then we put on these muscles and go to the gym excessively, and that's like a fake persona too, starting off and stuff. Now, and I did that early on. It's like, ooh, I need these muscles because I want to look like that, because they're going to be doing so. And then we did it because we, so people can think we were cute and we can get dates or, and stuff, like that. As I got older, that's not my mission no more, but I can tell you it was very superficial when I was younger, and, even up to a certain age to do it. Now, that I'm older, I want to stay, fit and healthy, and stuff, like that. But, we all put on these little masks or, personas that's not really us. Yeah. Sometimes to cover up insecurities or happiness with how we look or how we build or whatever, and we're comparing ourselves sometimes to what we think is beautiful, and it's,
it's like a competition too, because you're competing with everybody else on the app, and so you're trying to come off as the best one. It's almost like a beauty contest. Yeah. Like everybody on here is okay. You're representing Texas. You're representing, Florida. Everybody's representing, and whatever I have to do to win this competition, if I have to filter my face to where it doesn't even look like me, that's what I'm gonna do. If I have to change my eye color, or put on a wig, or extensions, or whatever I have to do, I want to win this beauty contest. So it becomes this, like you say, comparing, but it also becomes like a competition as well, because I'm competing with the next guy. I want to be the one you choose. Choose me. Choose me. So yeah.
So it says researchers have found that the more a person examines their partner's Facebook, Instagram activity, the more that person reports jealousy and mistrust. Do you think that as far as this, do you think that that people should be on their partner's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, or should they have the password and stuff to their, or is that an invasion of privacy for you to be, for your? And I guess to me it depends on your relationship, whatever. If you're, you're comfortable and y'all, whatever, and you ain't on there doing any. You're not doing any whatever activity, the negative activity or something. You know what I'm saying? So what about you? Would you think that would it be okay? Just say you were in a relationship, not dating, because you don't give people that type of information dating. But if you're in a relationship, do you think that it would be like, say your boyfriend asks for your password, for your Instagram or for your phone, for your phone, Instagram or Facebook, they ask for your password. Would you give it to them?
I think that it, like you say, it depends on the relationship, but that's what we are. The only way I think that we will be there is if there was some mistrust somewhere, and now we're trying to rebuild that trust. So now I have to give you, well, I don't have to, but we have decided to share each other's passwords and logins and all that kind of stuff to help rebuild the trust or whatever. But initially, just being in a, everything seems well. I like him, he likes me, everything's going well. I'm really into him, he's into me. I don't think I would just render that information. I don't think I would just give that to someone. I don't even know why that would even come up, unless there was some kind of doubts that you have. And I would say let's address the doubt, before we do that, because why? But if there has been an offense, I can see why we would do something like that to rebuild the trust. But just having a relationship, no. And also to piggyback on that, I do know, and I was in a relationship where I sort of wanted to be not necessarily friends with the person I was dating. That part on there where it says in a relationship or on Facebook or whatever. Right. I wanted, because I'm such a romantic. I wanted that part to read, I'm in a relationship. And I guess if we did that, it would show his name. And then on his, it would say in a relationship with Charles or whatever. And I guess that was my way of knowing that I've been taken. I'm chosen. I got somebody or whatever. And I don't know if it was for me or if I wanted the whole Facebook world to see or whatever. But I did kind of want that. But then I've heard the horror stories in that, to where when people find out that you're in a relationship, then all of a sudden you become attracted to them now. And so now they're in your DMs or they're in your partner's DMs, trying to get between y'all or trying to hook up or whatever. But when I was single over here and just, minding my own business, wasn't nobody in my DMs or trying to, whatever. Hey, Slick, how you doing? Hey, and Joe. But yeah, but now, but I also see that you can get a.
They said they were just quietly listening in the background.
Oh, well, thank you. We're glad you joined us.
Slick that joined in. Now let's see what Slick has to say.
Oh, he's gonna have a lot. They're gonna have a lot to say. But I will say that some people say that does kind of start jealousy, because now you're starting to look at everything your partner is liking, everything they're loving, everything they're commenting on. Especially if it's a guy and they're liking their picture, you're like, no, why the heck did you like their picture? So it starts all that, which doesn't need to be there. I'm just liking, even if I wasn't with you, I would have liked this picture because I think it's a nice picture. I think what the outfit he has on is nice or whatever. I would have liked it regardless. So I think sometimes you may open the door to stuff like that when you decide to be friends and follow each other or, subscribe to each other or whatever. So, but no, personally, initially going in, there's no reason for that. Right. But if we do have, if the offense has been made and we need to rebuild the trust, then yeah.
So with me, I don't, dating, no, you don't need to be in my phone, whatever. With me, I don't go perusing through people's, I'm not a social media person. Right. The most I do now is like basically YouTube, because we have our channel now. Right. But even before YouTube, I'm not very skilled at going into Instagram or Facebook and stuff. Even though I have those pages, those sites, I do have them. I don't go into them all that often or whatever. It's not that interesting to me to be sitting there wasting my time in there doing likes and loves and reading everything about everybody's, built up life. Mm-hmm. But I don't have a problem, because my pages aren't locked. You know what I'm saying? So if I was in a even if I'm dating somebody, you know, you can always go to my page and see anything that I put on there, you know, or whatever. But they're not locked. But if I was, you know, dating, you don't need my password, you don't, you know, whatever. But if we get into a relationship, and if I'm secure in that relationship, you know, we're not having like cheating issues or even emotional cheating issues online. If we're not having any of those type of issues and stuff, you know, like that, I don't mind you having my password, you know, to my phone, you know, or to my stuff, you know. Now I want to know the reason why you want it. Now, you know, I mean, is it because you're insecure and you think that I'm doing something or whatever and stuff? You know, I could, you know, I don't have to give you my password. I can just type in my password and let you go in and look at whatever you want to look. Now, don't go into stuff that's personal, that does not belong, you know, that doesn't apply to you. Like, you know, like just, you know, like, you know, I take care of my mother's finances and do all of that type of stuff. That's not any of your business unless you're contributing to her, you know, unless you're contributing to her, you know, her living situations and stuff, you know, like that. But, you know, other stuff, I wouldn't mind if you went in and looked, you know, but to me, that still comes down to the person probably insecure about something. And they may think that, you know, or some of them have been through so many bad relationships and stuff, you know, like that, where there was so much cheating and lying and stuff going on. They just want to make, sometimes they, you know, when they get with you or whatever, they may just want to make sure that you are not that toxic person, the toxic people they've been with in the past or whatever. But I don't have a problem once we are established. And I'm like what Slick says, you know, I wouldn't be comfortable doing it. If we're just dating or whatever. But once we're in a relationship and then we are comfortable with each other and that level of trust and stuff is there, and then I wouldn't have a problem with you going into my, you know, because it ain't nothing in there anyway, you know, mine's boring, but you know, you can go in there, read comments, do whatever you want. I'm not going to ask for yours, you know, because I just don't, it's just not in me to be, if I got to be checking up on you, you know, or going into your posts and doing all that stuff all the time, then to me, I don't need to be with you, you know, because then that means that I'm just, I'd be stressed out and insecure about that crap all the time. But what you were talking about, it's called pocketing. When you were talking a bit ago, a situation where a person you're dating avoids or hesitates to introduce you to their friends, you know, friends, family, or other people they know in person or on social media. Even though you've been going out for a while, your relationship seems non-existent to the public eye. And that happens, a lot of times that happens with people who, like guys, you know, when we're in the straight community too, but in the queer community, you know, like when we use guys as a guide. A lot of times when they're in these social media settings or these dating settings, you know, whatever, sometimes they're on the DL and they're not going to put in there, and they can be, you know, they can be on the DL and still be in a relationship with you or messing around with you or dating you and stuff, you know, but once you get into a relationship, you said you like that to be on your, you know, you want it to, you want the part where it says not in a relationship to go away, and you want them to put, you know, I'm in a relationship, you know, or whatever. But some people won't, you know, they don't do it. Some, you know, there's different reasons. It's not, sometimes it's nefarious, but it's not always nefarious, you know, whatever. But some of them are on the DL, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, or some of them on semi DL or whatever. Some of them don't want you to know that you're in a relationship with them, you know, or whatever, because they're in there cheating. You know what I'm saying? And if you put in there that you're in a relationship and it's not an open relationship, you know what I'm saying? Then and you're in there tagging people or liking, you know, or, you know, making comments on, you know, what they look like or their body or their dick size, ass size, you know what I'm saying? Any of that type of stuff, or even on social media, you're in those what's the little sites and stuff they have on the groups and all of that type of stuff, and you're in there slipping around in these groups, commenting and stuff, saying stuff that's in there, but you're in a relationship, you know, or whatever, then that's, you know, or whatever. And I don't know how you get around that type of stuff, you know, or whatever. But there's a lot of guys that are on these social sites and in these things, and some of them are in relationships, and they're supposed to be monogamous, but they're actually in there talking to other guys, you know, or slipping in their DMs saying stuff or whatever. And that type of person is not going to want you to have their password.
Oh, no.
They're not going to want you to open up open up the stuff or whatever.
Right.
But they also can be, but they want to be on your page. You know, they want to be on your page because that way they can see who you're friends with,
right,
with their friends, or, you know, and that could help them slip around even more. Well, no, he's friends with my friend, with this person I know, so I'm not gonna mess with that one. But he don't, you know, this one here, you know, I can go in and talk to or whatever. People have all different type of nefarious reasons in these social media sites,
right,
you know, and even in the apps and stuff, because there's lots of guys that are in the apps too. Not, you know, I don't know a lot, but there's guys in the apps who are actually in relationships. Some of them are in relationships, heterosexual relationships, and then some of them are in queer relationships, you know, and then they're in there slipping around. You know what I'm saying? They're you know, looking for something on the side, even though their partner or whatever they're married to doesn't even know this type of stuff.
Right.
Because some people can be very trusting. You know, I kind of was like that. You know, I'm still a little trusting, but I'm not that trusting anymore. Like right off the bat, it's going to take me a while to give 60-70% of trust now. You know, whatever. I can trust you a little bit, but you're going to have to prove to me that you are, you know, that you're legit, you know, whatever, and that you are a trustworthy person. And I got to prove that to you also. You know, don't just take me from face value or whatever what I say. You know, let me prove to you that I am trustworthy, and you prove to me before, I go giving you my all in all and stuff, you know, like that. Because just from past experience and stuff, I know that these guys are in there slipping around. And Slick said, people's phones now have so much info, even outside of dating, which is true, that I would feel comfy sharing it unless we're married. So she's saying I wouldn't be comfortable sharing it unless she was married. And sometimes even married, I wouldn't be comfortable sharing it. You know, if I was married and it was just because there are people in marriages that they're unhappy and it's just a so-so relationship or it's a bad relationship and they still stay married for life and stuff, you know, like that. I wouldn't share it. I wouldn't share anything. I probably wouldn't share it if I'd have to be very secure and know that you're an honest person and the information that's in there or whatever is in good hands and stuff, you know, like that. Or you're not in there to because you're insecure and you're just in there to what's it called, follow you, to go, to be checking up on you or whatever, that type of stuff. But if I was married and I was secure, then
I would say I know some married couples, they share everything. Their Facebook is theirs together, like it's a couple's Facebook page. And if she's gonna see the message, he's gonna see it or whatever, and that just may be their relationship. It may not be that one cheated on the other, or vice versa, whatever. It just may be because we've heard the horror stories of how this could go. We're just already gonna go in with our page set up for both of us.
That's good.
And so sometimes couples, and you'll see that in and I think the reason why it came to mind is because I've heard it at church. I've heard people give that advice to couples, maybe married couples, to say, hey, you putting stuff out there, you're gonna catch some eyes, and those eyes may lead up into your DMs or whatever. So to keep it safe and to keep those barriers up or whatever, let's just have a page where it's Mr. and Mrs. blah blah blah, and you get a message, I see it, I get a message, you see it, so it's all there. So there's no secrets, there's nothing hiding. So they may just already just go in that way, but then again, like I was saying before, because someone has made an offense, now we've had to do this, which hopefully, because that's painful. That's really painful for someone to cheat on you like that, and you have to go to those extremes or whatever. And then there's always this saying, they say when you go looking, you're gonna find.
You go look.
Yeah.
If your instincts, it's your instincts.
Right.
We don't listen to our instincts a lot of times, and that's how we end up in trouble.
Right.
Our instincts, the red flags, that's our instincts telling us something's wrong. And a lot of times, if your instincts aren't going to tell you that if there's nothing wrong, you know what I'm saying? Your instincts shouldn't tell you that unless it's just your instincts are off think or something. Right. But your instincts will tell you that, and if your instincts are going off and it's like, there's something, like something, going on or something, like that, then, we better start talking, having some open communication, get some therapy or something, like that before I have to start going, going in, asking to go into your phone or to go into your stuff and like that. Because if I go in, and don't, some people have done that where they'll say, "Oh, you can have my password." They not really don't want to give it to you or whatever because they think you're going to turn it down.
Right.
Which I probably would.
Right.
But not everybody's like that. They're gonna be like, "Yeah, give me your password," because if their instinct is going off saying something's wrong, and that person's like, "Well, here, let me just open it up or whatever," they want you to probably say, "No, I don't. No, I trust you. No, I believe you." That because they think if you're going to give it to them, that you're going to be like, oh, "Okay, well, they really must not be. My instincts must be wrong, or whatever." So then you'd be like, "Oh no, I don't need it. I just." So that's what they're hoping. That's what they're hoping for. If you push it, probably, you call them on it. If you push it, and I'm going off of what my friend said, and she's a she, and then she pushed it, or whatever, but her husband really didn't want to give her that password or whatever, and she was like, if you don't give it to me or whatever, then I'm walking out the door, whatever. So the person gave the password, and in his mind, he still thought that she was going to not do anything. When she went in there, she found all type of stuff or whatever, even though he started lying about, no, that person did, all that, whatever. Sometimes posts are innocent in those things and stuff, like that. But a lot of times what they're doing is kind of nefarious, or whatever. But I don't know if I got to start going into your phone and doing all that type of stuff. To me, I don't know if I really need to be in a relationship with you or whatever. Right. If I'm starting to feel things that much or whatever, then I think we probably need to get some counseling. If we want to keep this relationship to go, to see what we can do to, whatever. And you may need to shut yourself, if you're in there, if you're addicted to that type of stuff or whatever, you may need to stop, get out of social media for a while, or, same thing with dating apps, even if you're not in a relationship or whatever, but you're in there just constantly looking for somebody. You're constantly looking for sex and constantly looking for somebody, or whatever. If it's constant or whatever, the research out there is saying, like, they say that's stressful on people to be constantly scrolling and constantly, and you got to keep checking your phone and you got to keep, scrolling, or you got to constantly be in Facebook and stuff. They say it's very stressful on people. Even sometimes if they're not even realizing it or whatever, it's causing a lot of harm and stuff. And then Jay and Joe, they say, I think it comes down to trust. If there is full trust, none of those insecurities should come up. If it's full trust, if it's 100% full trust, those insecurities aren't going to come up. But we do find in these relationships that most people don't have 100%. It'd be nice, in the ideal world that would be nice. But most people don't have really full trust, just because how this world is and stuff, like that. Especially with all the infidelity and stuff, like that going on.
And it could be the way you guys met. Like I met you cheating. So I don't
explain that.
I mean, so you could be somewhere at a party or whatever, and your significant other, maybe at home or whatever. So at the party, you're just mingling with everybody or whatever, and then you hit it off with someone or whatever, and y'all stay in contact or whatever. So eventually your affections may kind of start going this way or whatever, but you're still in this relationship or whatever. So eventually this one has to end or whatever. But before it ended, maybe you guys were doing stuff you probably shouldn't have been doing. So I met you and I was cheating, I was cheating or whatever. So I didn't come into the relationship as honest as I could have been or whatever. But I mean, he probably knew or whatever, but still, if you cheated on him, who's to say you're not gonna, cheat?
I would think
so.
Yeah, if I met you and then just say we had, just say we were, we started dating or something, but you actually you were in a relationship, and I didn't know it, and you didn't tell me that stuff or whatever, and then I find out or whatever, or I don't want to hear that bullshit where you say, oh, I'm going, we're separated, whatever, but you're still living together. Right. Or we're separated, or I'm leaving them, we're going, in 6 months, I don't want to hear all that fantasy bull crap, right? But if I've had sex with you or something and I find out that you're in a relationship, unless I was messing with one of them down low guys and I found out they was married, because the ones that I had messed with, I didn't find out right away that they were married till after. But I'm not getting in a relationship with you, whatever. It was sexual, whatever. And I'm not going to get in a relationship with you. But if it's somebody, and then we went out on some dates or something, and then we end up, it's leading like it's toward a relationship, and then I find out that you were already in a relationship, and even if you left that person and you were leaving them for me, I don't want to be in a relationship with you because you are going to do that to me. Yeah. To me, you're already untrustworthy. And just the lies that you kept and didn't tell me about it or whatever, just those type of lies. But then also, I'm not going to trust you anyway, and I don't want to go into the relationship if I can't at least trust you halfway. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. I don't. I might not trust you 100% or whatever, but I need to at least have some trust level there, like at least 50% or something to give me something to go on or whatever. Right. Well, I'm not going to trust you at all if I find out that you were in a relationship and you didn't tell me, and then you left that person, whatever, and then you think you're going to be with me because you're going to do the same thing. Right. You're going to do the same thing with me. It's the same thing with people who are, that are toxic or whatever. Just because they get with you does not mean that you're going to be the one to change them. They're going to stop. They're going to, eventually they're going to do the same stuff that they did in their toxic relationship to you. Whatever. I mean, there might be exceptions to the rule, but it ain't that big. Right. Same script. Right. Right. And then, so if I go back to this pocketing thing, or whatever, I've been in that situation. I was in my 8-year relationship, right? Well, in my 8-year relationship, both of us changed. We both had separate Facebooks, right? And then we both had separate Facebooks, but both of us changed our thing. Once we got into a relationship, it went from single to in a relationship, but then in my second one, that one, it never changed to relationship, whatever. And I can speculate on the reason, whatever. I mean, it's because, I know it was church. You didn't want anybody from church to know that you were dating a man. It's kind of a down low like that, even though they knew in their mind, they have this perception that, they can fool themselves in their mind that like nobody, whatever. But in the second one, it was like church, whatever. And you don't want to ruin the persona that you have in church. Or straight people, you don't want straight people to know that you're gay, that you're messing around, that you're in a relationship with a man, or whatever. You still want to put that persona that, that I'm heterosexual, or whatever. So, I knew that part of it too. I just didn't know that also there was the cheating aspect of it too. If you put in there if you're in a relationship, then if you're in Facebook or if you're in there slipping in people's DMs or getting into groups and stuff, saying this and doing that type of stuff, if you say you're in a relationship, then it'll be harder for you probably to be able to pick up somebody, unless you're gonna pick up somebody down low too. You know what I'm saying? But it'll be hard for you to cheat if you put yourself in the relationship.
Right.
If you're in a relationship. So if you leave it single, then you can go and do, slip into different people's DMs or different groups and stuff, like that. Or people can hit you up, through Messenger, or hit you up in your DMs and stuff, like that.
Yeah.
And then you can privately, secretly hook up with them, whether it's emotional cheating or physical cheating, and that's what I found out in my second one. But in my first one, we did have relationships, and that still doesn't stop them, because there's still people in there that will they might like that you're married or in a relationship, because they may be married in a relationship too, and y'all can still do the DL thing and doing stuff. So there's different reasons.
And you have people that
is pocketing.
And you do have people that have different values, and it makes me think of the scenario that we know of, where the person was cheating on, you come face to face, but the person that could have ratted out the whole situation took the high road and didn't say anything at all. So you do have people that they could have just destroyed your whole house, but they didn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
That and it may come out later or whatever. But just because you're okay with this doesn't mean I'm okay. And it was actually eating at that person. I think that person really wanted to tell me a long time ago, but was like, but they felt really bad. And because it's like, when it did come out, I was like, why are you telling me now? I think it had been eating them up, because they're not that type of person. And they probably feel bad that they were put in that situation, but I have no idea, of it or whatever. But some people, they will use that single status to just do whatever. But you never know when you may come face to face.
Whatever the two shall be.
Right. You come face to face, and then it's like, you never know how each is gonna handle it. Thank God, that person did not blow the situation up, because they could have or whatever. But yeah.
So what if, just say you were say you met somebody and you were dating them, and then just say they did lie about their income. Would that be a deal breaker for you to date them or not date them? If they lied about their income, is that a big lie or just a little lie? Or do you see it as, well, if they told that, then what else are they lying about?
That's what I would think. I would think because my thing, first of all, would be, like we said before, what is it in you that feels that you have to lie about that? Like, I'm not coming for your income. I'm not coming for your money.
Right.
But excuse me. But I know that people. I know, right? Sorry. It's
that stinks. That's just came way over here.
What?
Mistreated behind.
What
you been doing before you got over here?
I don't know. Did it taste like booty?
Oh, when I was coming up, they say your breath smell like, not me. People say your breath smell like mistreated ass.
Right.
And I'm like, well, what you your mouth or nose down in somebody's ass? But anyway.
Yeah. And we mentioned it last week too. And we mentioned it probably in a few shows where it seems like these day and time people equate their income and their job and their title or whatever with their self-worth.
Right.
Like, this is what makes me, this validates me or whatever. And it's like, no, that's just where you get, your money from or whatever. That's just where the money is coming in and you're able to pay this and pay that and, build a future, whatever. But that's not who you are in your totality. You are, you have values, you have character, hopefully, we hope. Hopefully you're a person of, all of these virtues, positive virtues or whatever. But, we all have some things about us that we want to change. But you cannot go through life thinking that your job is the end all be all, right. And that is what is going to cause people to be attracted to you. Right. No, because you can have money and be the ugliest thing thing out here. It may not get enough because some people are just gonna look at the visual and be like, yeah, you may be rich or whatever, but I'm not attracted to you or whatever. So money is not gonna always be the only thing. You don't have to use that to impress me. So yeah, if you lie about that, I really would think there's some underlying
Something
issues in there or whatever that needs to be dealt with, some insecurities or something like that. So I don't know if I would continue in a relationship, but I would let them know that, you know what, that didn't even matter to me.
Right.
So going forward, you don't have to do that. But if they can give me like, if it really comes from like the fear and the insecurities, I probably can see that because they're human or whatever. But if this is something that you really were trying to deceive me, thinking that whatever, you know, you set me up to just make me just let me fall, then yeah, because you're not gonna. I can do bad by myself. You know, I can do bad by myself now. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, that's not that wouldn't be, that wouldn't be like a deal breaker for me, just because I done went out on plenty of dates and people lied about what their income and stuff was. Sometimes it makes them insecure, which I don't like that aspect of when they like if they see what you have and they think that they have to live up to that. And with me now, some people they do have to live. Some people they do have to live up to that because that person puts out that if you're not on my level, whatever. That's never been me or whatever. But I have had people where like if they come over here, and then they'll do that whole, oh, you got a mansion, or whatever, and I'm like. Or or whatever stuff, or they don't know my income,
right?
Whatever,
right?
But they, in their mind, they think that they do, whatever. They think that you make a lot or whatever, and they think that they have to live up on that level,
right?
Or make themselves seem, like that too. So that's not a deal breaker for me because and I'm not one to get into finances and do all that type of stuff, unless we're combining our stuff. We're in a relationship,
right? And
then we're combining our stuff or whatever and stuff. And you don't have to make what I make,
right?
Or be whatever in order for me to be in a relationship with you, or whatever. Long as we're compatible and we get along, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're good together and stuff, like that. That's not my issue.
Right.
So that'd be something that I would overlook, whatever, because it's happened before. Where they tell me this, and then, but this has just been in dating situations.
Right.
You really find out that that's not them, or whatever. But sometimes what you have also can intimidate guys. I don't. It doesn't intimidate women. It doesn't seem like, but with gay guys and stuff and like that, sometimes it intimidates them, because they feel like they're, they gotta have that or whatever and stuff too.
It makes them feel insecure.
Right.
Because you're more. It seems like you're more established or more accomplished.
They're trying to be you. Be what you are. You just got to be you.
Right.
Whatever. But they will. I've noticed in these apps and stuff, like that they do. I don't know why people would put their income in an app, but I have seen on not a lot, but I have seen it on a few occasions where they, I work here, and stuff. I wouldn't even put in the app where I work at, whatever. I wouldn't put in the app how much I make, or what the K is, or whatever. Even on social media and stuff, when they get in there bragging or about what they just purchased,
right?
Like people, they got to go in there and show off, like I just got this, or I just bought this house, I bought this car, I got this, or look at this, their outfits or whatever, it's all that braggadocious stuff, or whatever. And I mean, we know why people do it or whatever. I can overlook that for the most part, unless it's extreme. Like if it's extreme and that's all you're doing is just lying all the time, and you're none of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's all false or whatever. Then I might have a different.
We got a problem.
Right. And then,
and they do that with hobbies too. And their interests and what they like to spend their time doing or whatever, just so that you will be interested, or because I guess they feel like, well, if I'm not interested in the same things you're interested in, you're not gonna see me as exciting, or you're not gonna see me
acceptable,
or acceptable or whatever. So it's like, let me lie just to fit in. Or if I don't say that I'm interested in, so you're interested in hiking, if I say that I'm not interested in that, I might lose you.
Right, or it might not turn into another date or a
Right.
relationship.
I just scared you away.
And that's not necessarily true. You know,
Right.
I don't want anybody who's has every single thing in common that I have. I don't want anybody who's like me, you know, like me or whatever. It's nice to have some things in common, but you don't have to have everybody's unique and everybody's different, you know, or whatever.
Right.
Everybody's going to have their own likes and dislikes
Right.
and stuff they like to do and stuff that they don't like to do. It's nice to have some things in common, because if you don't have nothing in common, you're not going to mesh anyway. But if you have a, you know, you can have a couple or a few things in common, and that can bring you together where you do stuff, you know, like that. But you know, everybody's not going to have everything in common, so you don't have to embellish the information you put on the app.
Right.
You know, I'm into weightlifting, and you never go to the gym.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I love weightlifting. Oh, you know, so and then they get intimidated with you. You know, they don't put all that in their profile. Then you start going out with them or doing something. They get intimidated with you because you go to the gym. You know, then that insecurity comes in. You know, like, well, what's, you know, what are you going to the gym? Who's looking at your gym? What you doing at the gym? You know, that type of stuff comes in. It's like, no, I ain't. You know, when I like, if I'm not in a relationship, I'll look at any damn thing I want. I'll do, you know, and stare you, whatever. If I'm in a relationship, you know, that changes for me. You know, I might not go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. You know, whatever. Because we'll have things together and we're doing stuff together. You know, I might cut it down to a couple of days, you know, or whatever, or 3 days or something, you know, or figure out how we maneuver to do stuff with you or whatever. Because you don't go to the gym, but you don't have to put that in your profile that you do. You know, whatever.
So be something you're
and we'll find other things that we can do together and stuff, you know, like that. And even when with the gym, if I'm in a relationship, then I change my behavior, how I act at the gym, because I can tell you when I'm not in a relationship, I be looking at people, they be looking at me,
and they're right.
You know what I'm saying? If they flirt, I can be flirting back and stuff. But if I'm in a relationship, you know, or if I'm seriously dating somebody, I cut that out like this. You know, I'll cut that out. You know. No, I can see them, you know, and something like that, but I'll cut out the flirting, you know, or I'll cut out the looking and stuff, you know, like that. It's strictly like, hey, how, you know, it's like strictly, you know, whatever.
Platonic.
Well, it's platonic anyway. I ain't never in the gym having sex with nobody. I ain't taking nobody else for sex at the gym. But you know,
because we were at the storage.
Now I have met people, you know, outside of the gym, but they go to the gym, you know, whatever, and then they go to my gym, you know, and stuff, you know, like that. But that was, you know, I wasn't in no relationship, you know, or whatever. So, but anyway, so this right here, it says dating apps are prone to set you up for rejection because it's just not possible to match with all users. While rejection is part of everyday life, the internet can cause more dismissals or ghosting. Some users may have negative feelings and thoughts and take it personally when someone is not interested. I'm reading the ticker, so that's why it's slow. It sounds like I'm, you know, but I'm reading that ticker down there. And in the dating apps, you're going to get a lot of rejection. You probably get more rejections, or you get people just playing with you in there. Then, you know, so it depends on what you're going in there for.
Right.
Like if you're going in there for sex or whatever, you know, that can be pretty easy to pick up, you know, depending on what your taste and style is, you know, whatever. Because, you know, just because you're in there looking for sex doesn't mean everybody wants you. That don't mean everybody wants me, you know, me or whatever. Some people have their different tastes or whatever. But most of the time, I think a lot of them are in there, you know, they'll send you 100 messages, you know, or whatever. It ain't never going to meet you or whatever because they're not, because a lot of them know that what they put up in there is not them. And some of them are in fear of, you know, well, I really do like this person from talking to them and would really like to meet them and stuff, you know, like that. But I can't do it because I done catfished.
Exactly.
You know, I done put all this information here that ain't true, or or just from talking to them through the message stuff that's in the apps, you know, the stuff that they had said and built themselves up. None of it is true, or most of it ain't. And then they're afraid to meet you now because
It's gonna come out
because they're gonna see that that's not you.
Those are the ones that send those invisible pictures, which I hate. Because then you don't talk to me for days, then you talk to me again. I'm like, who is this? Because I have nothing. I have no point of reference because you're always sending invisible pictures. So it's crazy. I think with being on the app, because you're right, it is putting you up against everybody, and you have all these users, and you're not gonna match with all of them or whatever. Initially, you would have to be in a place where you accept yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to be in a place where you accept the age I'm at. I accept what Beyonce flaws and all, flaws and fupas and guts, and all that. I have to accept that. I have to accept my income. I have to accept where I work. I have to accept where I live. Because some people, they lie about where they live because this may be the wrong side of town, or this is the rough side of town. I don't want people to know that I live on this side of town. You have to come to a place where you love you or whatever, because these apps will get you. It'll play on you and then society too, because society has told you what beauty is. Mm-hmm. So society has told you what's in and what's not. Like, we can counsel somebody right now and they'll be counseled or whatever. So you have to get to a place where you love yourself and you appreciate all that you bring to, the world or whatever. So yeah, you have to always, that should be number one. If you're thinking about getting on apps, have that self-acceptance about yourself, because you'll get lost.
Right. Because the apps and the the apps and the social media stuff, they're telling you what pretty is, or whatever. And that's false. That's right. That's false there. False narrative. But a lot of people believe that, and they think this is what they think this is. People are like it, but most people are like, look around, people. Right. Look out in the world. The people next to you when you're walking, everywhere you go, most people are average. Yes. And average to below. Very few people are above average in this world as far as like looks and stuff. We are all just pretty much, we're pretty much average. You may be a little bit above average stuff, but no, there's very few people who are this 100% pretty. If you look around, or whatever, and trying to shoot for somebody, like that or something, like that. But one thing, if you're doing it off of social media and the apps, usually, not all the time, because there's exceptions to the rules, but usually those type are not going to go for us any. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they have this big ego, but not all the time. Sometimes they're pretty down to earth or whatever, and they can go for you. But most people, we're average, right? And trying to go for what you see on Instagram, or getting in there lying in them DMs and stuff, right, building yourself up something that who you're not or whatever. Right. In the end, all you're doing is really hurting yourself, right, and then you're frustrating yourself, and then making yourself more insecure.
That's what I was gonna say. You're making yourself more insecure because you're putting this tore me up. I see, because you're comparing yourself to them, and this is what people say, and even like you said, the ones that are up here, even that's false. Yeah, even that's like the eye of the beholder, because
a lot of them are insecure too.
Right. Everybody doesn't think this person is beautiful, because beauty can be something different to everybody. Right. Some people like, a little meat on you. Right. I want something, whatever. So even that person that, society says that 100%, even that is in the eye of the beholder or whatever. But yeah, you will definitely, if you haven't worked on your self-acceptance and just being true to you and loving you, you will get into your insecurities. It's going to hit you head on, because you're going to see people of all shapes and sizes, with clothes, without clothes, from light to dark, skin colors and whatever. You're going to see all of that. And if you have those issues, all that's going to play on those issues. And it's just going to make your insecurities overpower. They're going to be so big when they're really small. That may be a time where you need to start talking to a therapist, whatever, to get that right with you, because until you see yourself in the way that you show up, no matter what I say, it's not going to help you. like we was talking the other day when we were trying on clothes or whatever, you were like, no, you look fine. But until I see that.
Right.
It's
because no matter what I said, you were still like,
right. Yeah.
I can't put that on. I was like, it's fine. And there's people out there who like all types of shapes.
Yeah.
And they might like a little belly. Some people like a big butt. Some people like a small butt.
Yeah.
People, and and no matter what I said, and then I was in the same thing talking about, I don't
right,
know
exactly.
it ain't fit,
right.
It's too tight, and like with me, I don't like putting on like tight stuff. I don't want to go out there and just show about, even ain't nothing wrong with it,
right.
With my body or up under these clothes or whatever. I still am not out there running around thirst trapping, or whatever, with my shirt and stuff off, or running around in underwear, doing all that, and putting it on Instagram, or doing all that type of stuff. And that's not me, whatever. And that makes me uncomfortable, if I would, I mean, hell, remember when we was in Houston? I didn't even want to take off my shirt. I didn't know in Houston. Remember, I didn't want to take off my shirt in the swimming pool.
Oh yeah,
the hot tub. I mean, I eventually did, but it's like, I don't know. It's something about I've always had that thing where I don't want to be out there showing off my body like that, or whatever. But some people don't have a problem with that, and then some people just, some people are over the top with it. But anyway, but we all have our insecurities and stuff like that. But I wouldn't get on Facebook and make myself, say something that's not true about myself, or whatever. I wouldn't get in the apps, because even when I was on Jack, what I put in there was the truth,
exactly,
or something like that. But and I actually filled out my profile and actually had my actual pictures on there, or stuff, like that. But a lot of people don't even put their pictures and stuff up because that's not them, And some people are only going to put. They're not going to put their face, but they may put their body because they think that's what's going to attract the person, whatever. And then, but then you might see that face. You're visual. You'd be like, it don't matter what you put up to try to get somebody with the body. The face don't, the face don't match. It depends on what you're looking at, or whatever. And some people can't. They might like the face, but they can't get past the body, or whatever. And then people are putting different things up to track you on these apps and stuff, like that. That's not really who they are. And then Jay and Joe, they say the line about finances also comes from friendships. The whole thing where some people don't want you to do better than them or make it seem like they are doing better than you. Yeah. Yeah, that's true too. Sometimes your friends can be jealous of you. He says speaking from experience with an ex-friend. I guess they're not your friend no more because of that.
Right.
But and
you do find that in circles where
some people are jealous of
everybody's, at a different place at different times or whatever. And sometimes they can make you, or they try to make you, or you just come because you have some insecurities. It makes you feel a little less than at times or whatever. If you're dealing with stuff like that or whatever. And then you have those friends that's just them. They just have a giving heart and they don't mind it or whatever. And it's not to put you down or whatever. It's just like, I have it and I want to share it with my friends. But it seems like this person was kind of being kind of nasty with it, because now he's an ex-friend, or whatever. But yeah, that my finances is crazy. It's funny how it plays in just friendships and not in relationships, because it's like, to me, I really don't care what my friends make. I just feel like that I'm not gonna invite you somewhere where I know it's just overly expensive if I know you're not there or whatever. But I'll let you be. Sometimes I'll let you be the judge of that. I won't make that decision for you. But if I already know it's an issue, I won't even bring it up or whatever, because I already know how that's gonna go or whatever. And I don't want you to feel bad and be like, oh, I wish I could go, but how my money is, whatever. So I mean, there's ways to be sensitive with friends and even with relationships, but with my friends, I really don't care. Either you can go or you can't. And, I would like to have that time with you. So I probably would try to find, like if we're doing a trip, I'll probably try to find a trip that is affordable for all of us, that we all can afford or whatever, not so I wouldn't leave anyone out or whatever.
So this is on the line of what we're talking about.
Mhm.
You know, it says men are more likely to lie on their dating profiles, as 51% of men confessed, but women were not far behind with 44%. Surprisingly, the researchers discovered the most common lie told on their dating profiles was about current hairstyles. That's interesting. I don't even know what that means. Current hairstyles, but you may be able to explain that. Current hairstyles, 61%. And 55% lied about their careers. And that's what we were talking about. You know, they're lying about their finances to build themselves up. You know, they may be doing that because, you know, sometimes women, you know, the women go after finances. Sometimes they don't give a shit what you look like or feel like or whatever. They
want security.
They go for security, and you know, if you can take care of them and if they can have a nice life or something, you know, like that. Now, gay men, we're a little bit more superficial. You know, we might go for those looks and body and, you know, and like what they be putting in their dick size and ass and all that stuff in their profiles. But I thought that was interesting about the hair. What does that mean?
So evidently, they're lying about their current hairstyles because, you know, women can change their hair now. You know, so they can have, you know, they can have braids down here this week, and then the next week they can have a bob or whatever. So it's like, I guess the men they're not actually seeing current pictures of them. Like, how's your hair now? You know, because women, they can change all this or whatever. So I guess the men are saying, like, you look like a totally different person or whatever. So I guess women lie about their hair or whatever. Kind of like some men, what Tim said they call units. They put the units on their heads or whatever because they can't grow hair. So I don't know. So is this your current hairstyle? You know, is this your hair or whatever? And I think some women kind of lie about it. And they may just do it because it's fun. Like, this is something I just enjoy. I like changing my hairstyle. But when you get to the point where we're getting close and it's becoming to where, you know, you're deceiving me, then that's an issue.
So it's like you're saying, so maybe like say with women, then I'll get on the men. So with women, they may have on a weave, but they'll say that's my real hair. Or allude to that's their real hair,
right?
But it really ain't.
Yeah.
And then with men, with the two, you know, with the you know, because they have the unit. I guess they have those things now where you can get your hair, and they take that wig or something that they take human hair, and then I guess they cut the side. Oh no, they leave the side or whatever. They do this, and it looks good on guys. I've seen it on guys. It looks really good on them.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you that that's their real hair. They'll say that's their real hair instead of.
Right.
But if you get into a relationship with them, they're gonna have to keep going to get that done, and you're gonna eventually see that.
Right.
Because I hear it comes up or something, you know, like that. But in the apps, I guess they're showing off their pictures as if that's their real hair.
Right.
And then if somebody says, "Oh, you got some nice hair," or "You got your haircut," you know, I mean, it's cute. But if I had it, I wouldn't come right out and say, "Oh, I got a tunic." What you call it, a tunic?
A unit.
A unit. I wouldn't come out and say I got a unit or whatever. I'll be like, "Oh, thank you," you know, whatever. But maybe I wouldn't even say anything if I was dating. But if I started getting into a relationship, then maybe I'll say, "Oh, I get this done" or something like that. But I wouldn't come right out and say anything like that.
So for us, I think for us, it's not really a big issue because so for me, I think it matters to straight men because, you know, it's like in some of the sex videos, they're like pulling on the woman's hair and stuff like that. So I guess in their mind, when they see a profile that has this lady, and let's say she has long hair or whatever, because some men that makes a difference in who I choose. I like my woman with short hair. I like my woman with long hair, whatever. So I'm already visualizing if we having sex, I'm pulling your hair, whatever. Then I find out, oh, that was a wig. So I think that's what the men were saying. That seems to be the falsehood they see a lot in women or whatever. And then like the women were saying, I see a lot of falsehood in how much money the men make.
So, you know, this is funny though, because you know when I'm dating somebody, even if you know if we're like watching TV. If I'm laying down with them or doing anything next to them, I like to run my hand through their hair. I just like that. I'm very touchy-feely, so I do like to run my hair through their hair. There's some guys who don't want you touching their hair because of their haircut,
right,
or whatever they done put in it, or they don't want their hair messed up.
Right.
But women are bad at that. When they have on weaves and stuff, like that, or whatever. Women, they don't even want to get into it. Sometimes they don't want to get into a whole bunch of different fun sexual positions or anything like that because it might mess up their hair or pull or it might move a little bit or come off and stuff, like that.
And sweat it out.
And then, I had watched something a long, long time ago, and the woman was saying, "No, I only gonna have sex on my back, with my legs up because." And I'm only gonna lay down, whatever. And I gotta have a certain pillow because I don't want my hair messed up, and I don't want them running their hands through my hair. I don't want them pulling my hair or doing anything. So I'm only gonna have sex with my legs up and laying on my back. I don't want any other position because that way they can go in there and mess with my hair and actually.
Because I have a little work in the morning. I need my hair to be right. I paid like $80 for this.
And then, so that reminded me because I didn't put two and two together when I don't know why I didn't because. I actually had a video up here of with that. When we were watching the monsters.
Oh yeah,
monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I actually pulled that video up of that, and I totally forgot about the unit. I'm glad you mentioned because I forgot about the video that I had put up here.
Oh yeah.
And I just tied two and two together. I was like, well, why are they worried about their hair? But now I'm gonna play this video.
Yeah.
And it ties back into it. I mean, it's hurtful, whatever. I know it's funny, but it's hurtful too. But it's hurtful too. I almost really didn't want to show it because I didn't want, they're going through a lot and stuff anyway. They were abused and stuff, like that, even though they killed their parents, but but they were abused since children or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I just don't want to be making fun of people, but I'll go ahead and do it and take the backlash, I guess.
No way.
Why should I listen to you two when you got married at exactly my age?
Yeah, and look at how it turned out for me. Look at my happy marriage.
You're a hypocrite, and I don't care what you say. I'm marrying her.
Hypocrite? Don't you dare call me that.
She's not coming from a good family, and it's not going to happen. Not in a million years.
I am trying to save you.
You don't get to say when you did exactly the same thing when you were my age, Mom.
You are the hypocrite, huh? What about this?
Oh. Oh, boy. It's okay.
Are not getting married. No.
That is crazy. But to have your mom do that is so sad.
That was a cruel family.
That
mother too, and then they end up growing up taking on some of the same personalities, and they killed their parents. But they were being molested and abused, and emotionally and physically through their whole life from childhood to adulthood or whatever. But that is sad. But it kind of goes. That video kind of goes into the authenticity of being yourself. Whatever. Not saying that he putting that on is not being yourself, but people put on things for all type of reasons. And some people just want hair. Some people like the way they look with hair, and some people like the way they look without it or whatever.
Right.
So I have nothing against that or anything like that. But it went into just kind of how people are authentic or not authentic sometimes. Yeah. Some people do stuff like that too also. Right. They being inauthentic. Right. But they can get it like that. He was putting himself off as having hair and stuff, like that. His brother didn't even know.
Right.
Only the mother and father knew that, but he was being inauthentic as he grew up because he's had that on for years, but his brother didn't even know that. But he could have got in, not saying he did that, but just say he got into one of the apps or something or on his profile, and somebody, oh, you got really nice hair, or whatever, or he could be dating somebody and putting that off like he really has that hair.
That's when it's a problem when you keep it going. But if you come off and say, well, I just want to let you know, whatever, you let them know, then at least I know that you're not trying to deceive me or whatever. Because it's something that he's doing for his own personal, reasons or whatever. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. If you feel like you want to, enhance your appearance, with whatever the contacts, the hair, I know.
Jay and Joe said, "Oh wow."
No, I said that.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
of what he said before.
Let me see what he said.
Because he said about the friend.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He said his friend, the reason why he's not a friend is because he lied. That was one of the things he lied about.
Yeah, I guess he lied about a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
that was just one of the little things in the the little lies kept building up, and they turned it just sometimes it's excessive, and you just you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like, okay, I've had enough of this. Even with friends, sometimes even with family and stuff, you can have somebody that they just lie all the time. They get you growing up, or they can be getting you in trouble because they lie, whatever, and it's causing harm or something, like that. Eventually, for your own peace of mind, sometimes you have to cut people off, who are excessively lying like that, or in relationships and stuff. If the lies are so great, and that's not really you,
right?
You don't set yourself off, like we talked about narcissistic people, where their whole life basically is a lie. They'll lie, lie to the, set themselves off here in public, but behind closed doors, that's not really them. They're insecure and unhappy with themselves and stuff like that. And they'll take that shit out on you. Right. But you find out that it's, the relationship is a lie. And then sometimes you not telling people to leave or whatever, but sometimes for your own peace of mind and sanity, sometimes you have to just cut it and go and deal with the hurt and pain and whatever. And it ain't worth going through their social media, looking at it, going through their phone or doing it or checking up on them and stuff, like that. It's because it's it's just too much, and you don't need to add that on top of it, I guess. But, but yeah, so it says determining someone's genuineness on a dating site requires attention to consistency in their communication, including profile details and messages. Red flags may include reluctance to share personal information, vague or evasive, inconsistent behavior, and overly aggressive or persistent advances. So I guess they're talking about like when you're on these dating apps and stuff, it's people don't want to leave you alone. It's not a match or something, or like I guess if you don't converse or something, and then you're not interested no more, or whatever, they still keep bothering you or whatever. Or some people just constantly keep sending you messages and stuff, and you haven't really shown that much interest in them or whatever, and then I guess they keep, bothering you and keep texting or doing all that type of stuff. And then it says evasive responses, or just say you are talking, you don't talk to somebody on the apps or whatever, they're very evasive about information about themselves. They're not being straightforward. They're not being straightforward, or you ask them a question or something and then they don't give you a real answer, or they evade the answer, elude the answer. So to me, then it's just move on to another,
or they get defensive.
It's like then move on or something, because that doesn't sound like that's going to be a match anyway. But I'm under the impression anyway. I know you see it differently. A lot of people see it different than me, but I'm under the impression that you ain't finding no real good date, or you're not gonna find a relationship. But they say people do, but it ain't that many. But the percentage on the apps, it's a small percentage, but they do. There is a small percentage of people who do find love on those apps, and they find relationships, and then and some of them are lasting, But the research and all that stuff say it's not that much. I was watching a video last week of the guy who does Grindr. I think he works for them. I can't remember if he worked for them or he was one of the ones that helped develop it and stuff, like that. And he was talking about the ins and outs of Grindr and the other apps and stuff, and why they created it, and stuff, like that. And even he said that the percentage of the people who are on there, who are on there to find a date and to get a date. He said it's a small, but he says it does happen, but it's a small percentage, and they even was saying, he was even saying that it's when it was designed, it wasn't designed for dating. It really was designed for, to meet people for like hookups or in your neighborhood, or whatever. But people can get on there, they can find friends, and stuff, like that. But that's rare too. Even finding friends. They say most people, you're just scrolling and looking and looking. And some people have been on there for so many years, and they haven't found anything concrete, and it's more, just more of some of them haven't even really found friends and stuff. They may be talking through the app, but they never met, because some of them are, you never ever going to meet them, or whatever. But he did say that you have to constantly, he was saying, don't get on there and then, be talking to 100 people. You got to, narrow it down to the ones that are actually, like your matches. Because if you're just on there and you're just scrolling and you're just liking and talking to a whole bunch of different people, you're really not actually going to find, it's going to be hard to find somebody that's to date, or whatever, because you have so much that you're talking to so many different people, and you're bouncing or whatever, and then it's like, oh, well, they didn't say what I like, so I'll just go on to the next one or whatever. But you find, he says, to narrow it down to like about to 3 to 6 profiles, or whatever, that are interesting, and y'all have matched up or something, like that, and then you got to start narrowing that down, or whatever, in order to, or whatever. But if you're on there and you talking to hundreds and hundreds of people all the time, and then he says that's even hard to keep up with and stuff too, just constantly talking or whatever stuff, like that.
You're trying to start a group or something, you trying to talk to all those type of people, that's too many people.
And it says the consistent swiping and algorithm matchmaking may inadvertently hinder genuine connections, leaving users feeling frustrated and unfulfilled. The rise of the hookup culture. Dating apps, with their emphasis on quick matches and casual encounters, have played a role in the promotion of hookup culture. And so like some apps were actually designed, some of them were designed for dating, but now with the, it's so easy to get on there for sex and stuff, like that, that some people just, they ain't even looking for relationships no more, or they want relationships, but they're so hooked on these apps and stuff, like that when they do get in a, when they do start dating or get in a relationship, they can't let these apps and stuff go. And then, which can end up ruining their relationship, because they're in a relationship, but they're still on the apps, on there talking to people, or, and then the guy from Grindr, he did say that too. And the other guy that he was talking to, who was was a therapist, they were talking about, because they have these clients coming in, and they got addicted to these apps and stuff, like that, or they're having relationship issues and stuff, like that, because they can't get off these apps once they do get into a relationship or start dating somebody seriously or whatever. They're still on there looking for the next best thing, or thinking something is better or whatever, or they're not putting the time and energy into the person that they're dating or in a relationship with, because they can't stay off of the apps. They got to keep on, whatever. They get notifications and all of this other type of stuff, and then as soon as the notification come in, they got to go look and see what it is or whatever. And they never pan those. They really never pan out. Very few of them pan out. And even he was saying, when you get on the apps and stuff, you get on there. If you're on there, just say you're on there for 30 days, then you need to get off, and be off for a while and stuff, like that. Don't just constantly be on these apps, or whatever, because it's going to start messing with your mental health and stuff. Because you're going to be disappointed when you're swiping so many times, and then if nobody's swiping back on you or whatever, or you're not getting no matches, and you done been on there a while, or just the bullshit and stuff that they put, constant in their profiles and stuff, it starts playing on your mind and stuff, mentally. And then also with that, it's like they're saying being on those apps gives you that adrenaline, adrenaline rush, just like people who have other type of addictions, just like alcohol or drugs or sex and stuff, like that. Those apps can play in, psychologically, play in there the same way with, with your, with your mind.
Yeah.
Because it says, researchers have recently found that dating apps can negatively impact your mental health as well as lead to relationship dissatisfaction. Online dating is also associated with a higher level of narcissism and higher levels of self. I think I did this one already, didn't I? Higher levels of self, objectification, both of which can be damaging to our mental health. And that's self-objectification because we're comparing ourselves to whatever they done put in their profiles, and it's like, oh, well, they'll never talk to me because I'm this, or whatever. I mean, you might have accurate stuff in your profile, and they may not, or you're looking at their picture, or something. It's like, oh no, they would never talk to me.
Right.
But you start putting yourself down because you're comparing yourself to them.
It's almost it's very similar to even just going out and and just seeing a person out in the open. More face to face or whatever, you still kind of have all these challenges a little bit. But I think with the app, it's more of like it's like we made this connection. We've had, our words or whatever, but for some reason it stopped on an end or whatever. Like I'm still waiting on your response. I think that's when the stuff starts playing in your mind and all this kind of stuff. Like, do they really like me? And then you're stressful, like you say, you're checking it here and there, trying to see if they responded or whatever. As opposed to if you had met the person out. I mean, they can still do it because you can exchange numbers and they not hit you up or whatever. But I think on the app it's worse because you're like, what did I do? It's like I didn't even meet this person in person, and they evidently don't like me. So I'm unlikable even if you don't meet me. As opposed to what if I did go out and and you show me, I can see that because now you see me. I may not be the height you like. I may not be the weight you like. I may not have the the attire that you may like or whatever. So I get that, but to have somebody reject me and you haven't even met me, I think that really plays on your mental a lot too, or whatever. I think that the dating apps is just another avenue of meeting people. But I like for Facebook dating, every person that has hit me up on Facebook dating, the conversations go nowhere.
I heard about.
They go nowhere.
I heard they.
And I think
they say that's the worst. They say Facebook has the worst dating.
It's crazy.
The dating stuff on there.
It's like, why did you even like me? And then you have no conversation or whatever. And it might be vice versa because I may put like, but I forget all about Facebook dating. I forget it's there because you really don't get the notification. It's really hard to know when you get notified or whatever. They need to fix it because it's really hard to know when someone has responded. Like you have to actually go there to see it or whatever. So they have some things they need to work out too. But I think we're so busy and everywhere that we'll be on the phone for 5 or 6 minutes, then we're off to something else. So it's like the communication is bad. And I think that's one of the downfalls to the apps is that the communication is like, it's not there. As opposed to if I had went out on a date, you kind of have to have that conversation because you're face to face and where, you say something, I say something, you ask a question, I ask the question or whatever. So it keeps it going. But it's like when we're on the phones, it's like, I don't know when you're going to respond. You may respond 2 weeks from now or whatever, because we get so busy and stuff. So
yeah, I have to meet you in person. I prefer face-to-face contact or see you out, somewhere. I'm more into, I know I'm visual, but I also I'm more into the your body, like your body, what's it called? Your body expressions, I'm more into all of that type of stuff.
Non-verbal.
Yeah, and then verbal too. I like to hear what you have to say. How you express yourself. I'm into all of that type of stuff. And then how funny you are sometimes, or whatever. I mean, I just like the communication face to face. I'm not into the apps or the Facebook dating and all that type of stuff. That doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
But I'm gonna read this real quick. But the other thing is, it's like they it's like people are starting to get off the apps and stuff now, the dating apps and stuff, or Facebook. A lot of them are leaving some of the social sites stuff because it's causing so much distress in their life. Or some of them been spending so much time on the apps and stuff that other stuff is not. Their personal life is being taken up and eaten up by these apps and stuff. Like that. But they say the younger generation they're starting to get fed up with the dating apps and stuff, and so they're starting to get off of them. I think it's like 65% of the Gen Zers and stuff now, they prefer meeting people in public, like going out on a date or meeting them at a club or meeting them at a party or doing stuff, like that. They're more so now than the app. Now, still a lot of them on there. But a lot of them are starting to get off of it because it's not serving their purpose or meeting their needs and stuff, and they're starting to see this type of stuff. They're starting to also see how they are becoming addicted to that type of stuff. But I'm gonna read this here, this article here real quick, because I found it very interesting. And it says, "Am I addicted to my dating app?" And then it says, "It's a valid question and one I've pondered more than once. Dating app addiction is real, and those who use them should be wary of the spell they cast. Here are the warning signs of addiction. You spend more than an hour a day on the app. Your self-esteem is tied to your success or failure on the app. You feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster. Apps are tricky. They seem innocent enough. They're even fun at times, and they hold the promise of finding love. But in reality, they are the same as any other social media. You get a hit of dopamine when someone likes you. You get it again when you match with them. But along with those highs comes lows. You can go from hopelessness to excitement to confusion, then heartbreak in less than a day. That's not healthy. And yet we willingly go back to this tool with renewed hope that it will be better in the next round. Listen. Some people do find their person on dating apps, but it's not a high number. Match.com did a study in 2017 and found that 5% of people in a committed relationship said they met their significant other online. You should be aware of that if you're devoting significant time to swiping. There's more. 1/3 of people on dating apps say they never even gone on a date with someone they met through an app. What does that tell you? It tells me that dating apps are a tough place to meet someone, despite how easy it may appear on the surface. And men appear to be more fixated on apps than women. It says also from the Match.com study, men were 97% more likely than women to be addicted. There are tons of data. Out there about the negative effects of social media on people. Feelings of alienation, irritability, division, and dating apps are no different. They have changed the way we relate to each other. I see it in myself. I am quicker to judge. I feel stressed while having multiple conversations simultaneously. Dating is supposed to be about getting to know someone and having fun and then seeing if things develop. Now it's a job interview. And dating apps are a big reason why. If you think you're addicted to an app, do yourself a favor. Take a month off. Do a dating detox. I know you're going to feel a void, but remember, it's a fake out. The real void you're feeling is loneliness. And a dating app is only covering that up if you're like most, it's not fixing the problem. So I thought that, that was pretty interesting, And it says dating in today's worlds feels more like a competition of who has the best looking profile or most compelling description. At the same time, it can feel like it's easier to be less attached. Finding an authentic connection is tough. And modern dating is normalized. and modern dating is normalizing behavior that impacts romance and love. You got some comments here. Drop. Okay, bye. See you guys later. And everybody check out Jay and Joe's. They do live streaming. They upload videos, and they're pretty hilarious at times. They have some good conversation and stuff going on, but they show a lot of different variety on their topics also. Yeah. And that's Jay and Joe.
Yes, we love them. Hey y'all, have a good week.
Right. So they're out of here. Okay. Thanks for joining us. And then and so we talked about the catfishing and stuff, because there's a lot of catfishing that goes on the apps and in basically in social media too. The social media sites, that's catfishing too, when you're basically on there lying about yourself or building yourself up to be something that you're not. Or whatever, to attract attention, to get likes and loves. But also, social media and stuff too is also, like what you said, it's used for businesses. People, there's some good that comes out of it and stuff too. So there are people who are legitimately on there using it for their business, and some to make money. Some just to promote different things, or whatever stuff. It's when you get on there for the wrong reasons, or you get addicted to it and you can't leave it alone. You're in a relationship with somebody and you're scrolling and you're in social media and or whatever more than you're in the relationship. You're paying more attention to, or it could be like that with friendships or anything. You're paying more attention to your apps and stuff, like that, or what's going on in Facebook or Instagram than you are to what's going on in your household, or when you're with your relationship or with your partner. Or you can't even sit down and watch a TV program, together, or you go out on a date with somebody and they say, and it's like, oh, let's Netflix and chill. And then you're sitting there, or whatever, and then you're watching TV, and then they're in their phone or something. Or you go to a restaurant, you know what I'm saying? And then you're eating, you can't really have a good conversation across the table from them or whatever, because they're in their phone. I mean, I can see you picking it up every day for something, whatever. But to constantly be in your phone scrolling, and you're on a date and they're scrolling through their phone and or whatever, and then they might have missed something you said, or or you don't stop talking because they're in there. Or same thing with Netflix and chill. You're watching a movie and stuff, and you got to keep telling them, what happened. They're like, oh, what happened? Or I missed, so and so, because they're in their phone all the time. I mean, I can see picking it up, if somebody texts, or something, and you know what I'm saying. But just to constantly be scrolling to see who's or whatever. And I know people do it or whatever, because they be out now. And you could be anywhere with them. And we got to see who, with all the, what's it called, the miles, or what's it called, the map or the GPS. The GPS. Now you can tell who's all around you or wherever you are. And those don't usually make a connection either. You just really basically seeing who's around you and see, oh, they're cute. Oh, they're over there. Or whatever. You could be like out somewhere, and then it's like, and then it's not a connection. They just know that you're in there and you're in there. You're not really going up talking to them, and they're not talking to you. Maybe sometime, but usually ain't nobody talking to you just because you saw them, on the app and you're right next to each other or whatever. But that's where people, they're constantly in there, and then you really can't enjoy your time with them that much because they're too busy seeing what's going on somewhere else. And it's like, well, you're on a date with me, but you're seeing who's, who the notification that just came through Jack, and you got to go look to see what that is or whatever. I don't even want to go out with you no more. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even, it's like, well, you're still, or whatever. I mean, that might not be everybody, but that's just kind of my, my take on it or whatever.
It's disrespectful. You're on a date with me and you're all on your phone. Like, I'm not interested in you, then we can just end this right now. So you can check all your little messages, because it's not going anywhere. You just have to scroll up if you missed anything. You're trying to check to see who posted this and who did that and who did what. I mean, you can check it later, but right now, I thought we have decided to dedicate this time to getting to know each other. So, let's put the phones away, But like you said, we can see, like, if you have kids or something, or, parents that are trying to contact you or whatever, or even friends, whatever, we get that. But like, to constantly be on your phone when you're on a date,
Right.
That's
Yeah,
just
but
disrespectful to me.
sometimes, you got to look at it or whatever. But if it's constant, but it says here, like as far as these social media sites and then also the dating apps and stuff, it says deception versus lying, like people who are lying or being deceptive in their profiles. While deception and lying are very similar, they're not exactly the same thing. Lying refers specifically to the act of making a false statement. Deception, on the other hand, is a much broader term that encompasses any act or strategy intended to mislead or create a false impression. It can involve actions, words, or omissions. Lying is essentially a smaller subset of deceptive behavior. And that's kind of what's going on in the apps. You'll see some little lies or whatever, but a lot of it is deceptive. Also on social media and stuff. Those people, they're in these social media sites like Facebook and stuff. They're being deceptive. Like we said, some of them are in relationships. Some of them are dating people and stuff, and they're still in there being deceptive, lying about themselves, and whatever. And also in there, jumping in other people's DMs, picking, cheating emotionally or whatever. And then they'll lie about themselves or lie about the relationships that they're in or whatever, in these apps and stuff, like that. And lying, we say we can forgive it, but being totally deceptive and stuff, like that, that's kind of a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Because
when does it stop?
Yeah.
And then you got the lie to cover up this lie.
And it says deception involves misleading someone and encompasses many behaviors, including cheating, withholding information, gaslighting, or fabricating stories. And that's what they do. They fabricate stories in Facebook Live. I mean, there's so many, I mean, Instagram, they're like pictures and stuff. Some of that's it's fabricated too. But but Facebook, it's just so many fabricated stuff on there to make themselves seem more, or whatever. And they're so bored with their own life or whatever, or whatever. They're just in there constantly, and they're constantly putting stuff in their stories or their Facebook pages is just full of, oh, look at me, look what I did, or look what I got, so and so. And it's not really them.
To me, it's the reality star syndrome or whatever. Like everybody wants to be a star. It's like, well, then go to Hollywood. Go write some scripts or something. Because evidently you're really good at, writing lies and stuff. You're writing stories or whatever. So maybe that's where you would thrive in. Everybody wants to be, I got the best this, or this costs this much, look at this, I was able to afford this or whatever. We don't know that, that could have been something you found or something you stole, or there's all kind of reasons, but people will allude to all this stuff, and it's like you say, you that bored where you got to make up all this stuff.
It says, since a lot of people would not know you in reality, people, especially women, try to create a fake image and look better than they actually do. It's common sense that social media is being used for many women and men to earn confidence by getting likes, comments, and followers. And then, but if you go to authentic, it says authentic people instill a sense of trust. You trust that what they say and do is based on how they really think and feel. In contrast, someone acting from a disingenuous place might appear unnatural, insecure, or dishonest. Yeah. And we find a lot of inauthentic people on these social sites and stuff. And none of us are perfect.
We're not even in person.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, or even in person. And none of us are perfect. We have our faults and flaws and stuff, and stuff too.
Yeah. But it's only when your purpose is to cause deception.
Right. Intent.
Yeah, your
intent.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when it crosses the line. Because I want everyone to have a positive, self-esteem about them, and show all your attributes or whatever, but don't try to show all of that and then hide stuff from us because you think you won't be accepted, just to get over on us or whatever. That's when it becomes an issue, because I know you're not perfect, and I'm not either, or whatever. And it's okay to be to let those guards down and be vulnerable with me, because I'll be vulnerable with you. I have some insecurities or whatever, and hopefully we encourage each other in those areas where we, we're not as high or whatever, and not put each other down and make each other comfortable. So then when we do have the conversations, we can be open and honest, because you're not going to judge me. I'm not going to judge you,
Right. Yeah, and if I'm dating, if I'm dating you or whatever, as I get to know you, you'll start knowing my insecurities. I'll communicate and we can talk. Whatever. You'll start knowing my insecurities.
Right.
Or whatever, or my things that I'm not insecure about, or anything and stuff, like that. But I'm not the type, to get on social media and tell you all my business or anything and stuff, like that. Now we're here on our channel, because when we started the channel, we said we're going to be honest. We'll be open and honest and talk about, stuff that, we give our opinions, but we talk about stuff that has happened to us in our life, or stuff that is happening, past and present, experiences, stuff that may happen in the future and stuff like that. And then, or just stuff that's happening out in the world that we give our opinions on that may have not have happened to us, or situations we've been in, but there's stuff that we have been in, and we made that commitment to be open and honest about when we do talk about a subject or a topic, and stuff. So we talk about it on our YouTube channel and stuff like that. But I'm not the type that where I'm going to go into Jacked or any dating app, or go into Facebook or Instagram and put all this personal information or go get on there and lie about it. If I put something on there, then if I put something in there, then it's the truth, and it's and I'm not bloviating it or doing anything so I can get likes or anything and stuff like that. Because if I do put something on Facebook, it might be weeks or months before I go back in there to know if anybody liked it or something anyway, because I don't get on there that much. And then I'm not even scrolling through there to see who liked my stuff or who loved it or whatever and stuff, like that. So, but there are people who get on there and they only are on there so that, because it feeds them, it gives them that adrenaline, rush, and, but it says research finds that people with low self-esteem and poor body image are likelier to use filters, which can further reinforce the negative belief that their appearance isn't good enough. And then when you wanted to do this show on this, that's what you brought up. You said the filters. You said these people are putting these filters on. There's so many filters, you don't even know what the person really looks like. You said you said let's do a show on that, because I want to talk about these filters and the people, they
lie about their age,
everything,
their height, their weight,
right?
Stuff like that. Because they're there's some poor body image, like you say, or insecurities or whatever. Yeah, the pictures they've gotten so bad to where it's like you almost look cartoonish, like you're like a cartoon or whatever. It's like, look, we were just watching Avatar the other day. It's like you're like an avatar now. Like you're a cartoon version of yourself. Because I don't see not one wrinkle. Like you have no laughing lines, no nothing. Like you're just runway ready. It's just getting overboard, and it's like, I know that when I see you in person, you're not gonna look like this. And it's like, why do you feel like aging is a negative thing or whatever? And if you are, not aging that gracefully, I mean, that's okay. I mean, people will still find something about you that they connect with. It's not always gonna be, looks or whatever. That may be the first thing they see, because we're visual, whatever. But it could be your personality. It could be, just how outgoing you are, how honest you. I mean, it could be whatever that they find a connection with you. So don't feel bad about aging or whatever, that you have to put all these filters. It's like, who is this? It's like, will the real person stand up? Because I don't know who you are.
Right. It says, due to the effect that it has on the brain, social media is addictive both physically and psychologically. According to a new study by Harvard University, self-disclosure on social media, on social networking sites, lights up, which is dopamine, lights up the same part of the brain that also ignites when taking an addictive substance. And I guess that's a recent study. That's July 22nd, 2024. So the dopamine, it's like you're addicted to these social media sites and the apps. And so the dopamine rush that you get when you hop on there, but it's going to be the same low when you don't get that dopamine.
Right.
It's like if you can't get on there or whatever, then all of a sudden that addiction is going down, and then you start acting out.
Right.
You know, and you can take that out on your partner or friends, you know, or whatever, because you're not getting that dopamine rush on the thing, you know. And sometimes if you get that dope, say you're on there and say you got a partner, you know, you're on there playing on your phone or whatever, and then you get that rush, you can get off and then you can be just happy,
right,
you know, or feel whatever, and then you might treat your partner good or want to talk to them. But if you're not getting that rush or something that's keeping you from getting on there, getting that fix or whatever, you can take that shit out. You can sit there giving them the silent treatment, or you can be real talking. You know, they can ask you something or whatever. You can give them a brunt, and you know, you can just be nasty and rude to them or whatever, because you know that high is not coming. But then the minute you get on there or whatever, and then somebody doesn't like your stuff, they can, you know, give you that rush, like, ooh, I am important, or I am, or so. And then there's all type of dynamics that play into that. And I done seen that shit play out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's interesting.
It's almost like some people, the apps is like their coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and people are addicted to coffee.
Yeah.
You know, they need that. What's it called?
Caffeine.
The caffeine to
function.
To rush. Yeah. Some people can't function.
They can't even function. It's like, so the first thing they do is get up and get on their apps, that, you know, which will be their coffee or whatever. Until they have that coffee. Like some people, like, until I get my coffee, I'm going to be in a certain mood or whatever. I got to have my coffee or whatever. The same thing with the apps. They have to get on their apps to feel appreciated, to see who been looking. You know, it shows you who's viewed your page. So you see who looked at me, and let me go look at them, or maybe they could be the match or whatever. It's like you get your, like you say, your happiness and like you said, the dopamines and stuff. All that stuff doesn't even start, you know, going through your body until you find some kind of gratification from being on this app. And if you don't get it, then does that mean you're gonna have a bad day all day? You're gonna be in the dumps all day?
And you know what? I just thought about this though. But see, on those apps, say you're on the dating apps, and say you're on that app, and then you've been on there for a while scrolling, and then you're not getting the reactions you want from people, or you're getting turned down or something like that. You can take that shit out on somebody else in the app, that like somebody hits you up or whatever, and just say, you know, like, hey, how you doing today? You know, whatever stuff. And you were already done pissed off because you didn't get that hit that you needed from whoever you was scrolling or looking at whatever stuff. And you go to the other person, you might be rude to them. So I've seen that when I saw that when I was in Jack, where people were just rude, you know, and then they can come in, you know, like, and they're like talking to me or something, and they can be, you know, happy or whatever and stuff. But then in their profile, they'll have this negative stuff, you know, whatever. And then I've heard other people say, you know, like, well, you know, I don't know if I should be saying this, but, you know, I got pictures before, and then me and my friends compared who we were talking to, you know, whatever. And they was like, oh, yeah, I thought that person was rude to them, and they might have been nice to me, you know, or they may have passed me by or said something rude to me, or, you know, whatever. But then they like my, you know, whatever. They can be, you know, depending on that, if they get the, you know, saying their dopamine, that rush, they done been in there so long and the rush done went down, they can start being negative to other people on there, you know, or whatever. Or, you know, it can be negative to their kids or your family members or other people in your relationship with, because you're not getting that dopamine rush for people who are addicted to that type of stuff. And it says addictive schemes are built into social media sites, dating apps, social media sites and dating apps to get people hooked. Most don't realize they are being manipulated by the algorithms. Addictive personalities are easily sucked in. So like if you have an addictive personality, that's probably those people that's in that 10%, because but if you have addictive personality, you get addicted to a lot of stuff easily and stuff, like that. And then you can get really upset and stuff when you're not being fed to feed that addiction stuff. And you take that out on other people and stuff, like that.
And sometimes you take it out on yourself.
And you take it out on yourself and stuff too. By devaluing your own self.
Right.
Devaluing the other person, but you devaluing your own self because you're comparing or whatever, or you're, to what you see or what did or didn't happen in the apps and stuff.
Some people
like
get
that.
in a depression. They get in a deep depression.
They
Like,
really
no one likes me. I'm not,
Right.
Woe is me.
And then they'll start writing negative stuff, whatever. I mean, we've seen some of these YouTube videos, shorts and stuff, or stuff where people said, nobody likes me. And then they'll get 35,000 hits, because other people are drawn into that too. Well, they're feeling sorry for them, and not realizing the person may have just put that out there
Just to be.
so they can get them some likes and stuff, to get to, whatever. And nobody likes me, or I'm ugly. When people start putting stuff out there on the internet, out on these, like on YouTube, making videos and stuff, I'm ugly, I'm fat, nobody wants me and stuff, like that. There's something wrong. To me, there's something wrong with you. There's seriously something. And I wouldn't date you, and I wouldn't, what I'm saying? If you're putting that out there and stuff, I already know that it's going to be, there's going to be so much self-loathing and low self-esteem in the relationship that, it's not going to,
we can't go anywhere until that's dealt with.
Till it's dealt with, instead of putting that out there on the thing, saying nobody likes me or I'm fat and nobody wants to date me or do anything like that, probably get some therapy and stuff and talk to people or whatever, so you can build up your self-esteem. Because sometimes, believe it or not, people aren't always interested. That people don't go for you just because you're built and masculine or you're fine or you're cute or something. You got the biggest titties or you got the big butt or the biggest dick or something, like that. Sometimes people go for you because of your personality. They like the personality, the conversation. They like, whatever and stuff. It's not always about looks and body and stuff. So you'd be surprised what draws people in sometimes. But when you start putting yourself down like that, that's another whole type of issue.
Right.
And so we're about through here in a bit here. So it says it's reported that dating app users face 3 times the amount of stress compared to non-users. With online dating, you miss the personal connection during a first impression, and many view dating apps as being based on physical. Read the ticker. Connection during the first impression, and many view dating apps as being based on physical attraction. This can lead to comparing yourself to others and increased self-judgment. That's what we just talked about. We talked about dating people you meet online is not inherently problematic or toxic. It's not. It depends on you. It depends on you and what you're putting out there. If you're toxic, you're gonna put toxic shit out there too. Or you're gonna hide and pretend like you're not toxic. And build yourself up and make yourself be like, you're gonna be this or whatever. That's not really you. But then when you do get into that relationship or something like that, that toxicity is going to come out. And unless you stay in that type of toxic relationship, it's going to fail. But it says, however, for many, these apps create a toxic relationship with oneself. You said that, with oneself and with relationships that one may have with others. And you said that.
Yeah, because you can only take so much, denial. Because if you're expecting something and you don't get that, it lets you get it's a letdown. And so some people can take that personally and start, getting back, running their own self down, being hard on their own selves, and then even others around them because you didn't get what you expected. And so I think when you get in these apps, you have to, have the correct expectations of what you expect out of it and what you're willing to give into it, and know that there may be a cutting point where you need to take a break, or give yourself a time limit. Say, I'm going to try this for this many months, and if it don't work out, I'm going to leave this alone and do something else. Because there's so many ways now to meet people. We've said a lot, cooking classes and join a team, a bowling team, or whatever. There's so many ways now. It doesn't always have to be, this online thing, even though that's the way our society is going to this, AI and online and, webcam stuff or whatever. There's still the opportunities and events going on where you can actually meet people face to face or whatever. So, just know what your expectations are.
And it says, here are some cons of social media. It says, lacks emotional connection, gives people a license to be hurtful. Yeah. We in those apps, they can be very mean and nasty in those apps. And you don't get that connection through the apps. You don't get the connection as much through the apps as you would if you meet the person in person. You know what I'm saying? Decreases face-to-face communication skills. Yeah, because once you start communicating through the apps and stuff, a lot of times they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to communicate with you in person. You know what I mean? They lose. Huh?
As I was telling that friend of yours that was at Mila's, because he was saying that he have all these issues or whatever, and I was like, well, it seems like you don't know how to act in social settings. It's basically what I was saying, and I think the other guy, I think he was saying, yeah, I agree with you or whatever, because you having all these issues, like I don't like people and people don't like maybe because you stay, within yourself. And then, I have to break myself out of it too, because I can be very introverted at times or whatever. I still have to be around other people, because you can get to a point where you just say anything and not really, and it's okay when you're by yourself. Because you can't hurt nobody but you or whatever. But when you're around people, you have to be sensitive and know what they say, know the room or whatever they say.
Right.
Know the room, because there's some things where people can take offense to it. Where this other friend, it may just fall out. There's certain things I can say to you like, okay, but I say it to another friend and they're in tears. So you have to be open to that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too.
Number 4. I think you stopped. You stopped at number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conveys
inauthentic expressions of feelings. Diminishes understanding and thoughtfulness. Causes face-to-face interaction to feel disconnected. And then facilitates laziness. It does. You have to leave the house. You ain't got to do nothing. You just sitting there laying around scrolling, and sometimes shit don't get done, or you can't. You're not doing stuff with your partner or anything. Like that. So and then it says addiction. Addiction is a chronic dysfunction of the brain that involves reward, motivation, and memory. Yeah, and if you ain't feeding it, a whole lot of bullshit, a whole lot of tragedy shit can come out of that. It's about the way your body craves a substance or behavior, especially if it causes a compulsive or obsessive pursuit of reward and lack of concern over consequences. And usually people most people with addictions, they don't think about the consequences
Mhm.
until after they feed that addiction.
Mhm.
They'll go act out and feed that addiction, no matter what it is, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, you know, cheating, doing whatever and stuff. You know, they have to feed that addiction, stealing,
Right.
you know, whatever it is that feeds that addiction
Mhm.
and gets that dopamine pushing up into your brain and stuff, you know, like that. That's what they have to do.
Right.
Once they feed that addiction, then they come down. And when they come down, that's when they realize what they have done, you know, and then that's when it was like, you know, oh shit, you know, whatever. And they have, you know, they may have caused harm to themselves or to somebody else, but they don't realize that when they're acting out in their addiction.
Right.
And they don't think about the consequences because the only thing that they're thinking about and needing and wanting is to feed that addiction.
Right.
And then once it's fed, then it comes down,
Mhm.
you know. And then they might start thinking a little clearly, but eventually they got to feed that addiction again.
Right.
So then they got to go back and do it again. And then so the consequences really get thrown out the window.
Right.
You know, even if you're in a relationship with them and you give consequences, you know, or this is what's going to happen or something. If you don't keep those boundaries
Right.
and keep the consequences that this is going to happen because you're acting out or doing something, you know, like that, they're going to keep going back to do it because especially they know, okay, well, they're going to forgive me again,
Mhm.
or I'm a cry, or I'm gonna do something, you know, like that, and I'll be able to draw them back in, and you know, whatever stuff. But I'm gonna still go back and do that same behavior, that bad behavior that caused the dissension in the relationship anyway.
Right.
You know, because they have to feed that because it's an addiction,
Right.
and it's going to be hard to be in a relationship with somebody like that because they're going to you know, unless they can get somehow, you know, stop that addiction. Really, and addictions are hard to break. You know, not without help, without therapy and help and stuff. You know, like that. So, you know, a lot of times the person who's in that relationship with them, they're going to find themselves constantly, you know, dealing with that person's addiction. You know, sometimes you have to get out of it for your own self and sanity, so you can heal. And you know what I mean. But you know, addictions are rough. They're rough on a relationship, and most people can't withstand them. Then let me see here. And then it just says getting off the dating app, social media for 3 to 6 months. Feel how to get to know yourself again. You know, like if you find yourself addicted to these things, you know, or whatever, and you can't, you know, get on with your real life or whatever. Or if you're on there lying and that much and putting your false, inauthentic self and stuff, you know, like that, you know, you probably need to try to get off of that.
Right.
And then we're going to do our little promotion here, and then we're going to get off of here. We're going to do our little promotion. I'm going to let you do that, and then let you give your closing thoughts. And then we'll get off of here.
Yeah. Hey. That was cute. I love the music. I used it with be vulgar. Not vulgar. No, but we just wanted to make mention of our friends over at the Distinguished Gentlemen of KKMS. Check their website at www.ddgs www.kkmsdallas.com, where you can be in the know of all their events that's going on in the city of Dallas. For you guys that are not in Dallas, Texas, come on, travel. We got things going on here that I'm sure you will enjoy. These guys, they have events every first Friday and third Friday of the month. So you can check out the times and locations on their website. You can also receive texts and also follow them on their social media. You know, they have Facebook, they have Twitter, they have Instagram, and they have TikTok. But one event that's coming up the last Friday of this month, which is October 25th, they're doing their Halloween party. That will be at 11 p.m. and it's going to be over on Dragon Street. That sounds like Halloween, Dragon. You know, but yeah, it's Halloween. The theme is the Jungle After Dark edition, so it's kind of sexy, you know.
Yeah, we were out looking for costumes yesterday.
Yeah, we were. We were. So yeah, so get your costume or not. They just want you to feel comfortable. I think there will be some voting going on, prizes or whatever. But yeah, check them out. Like I said, there are tickets available at kkmsdallas.com. It is a ticketed event. So I think it's going to be real fun. Get you like some kind of jungle fatigue, wear something sexy, you know, real cute. Hey, it's just one day out of the, out of the year that we get to do this and, you know, dress up and just have a good time with, you know, like-minded people. So I think it's going to be a ball. So join us then. And then on Sundays, they have their social Sundays at On Premise. So continue to support them there. I think they're there now, 9 o'clock.
It's going to change though.
Yeah, and
after this month, then we'll let them know.
Yeah, because it's not out to the general public just yet.
Yes, it is.
He announced it. Okay, well, so yeah, that's what I have.
Everybody knows about it. Like people who I know have been telling me about it. You know, and I saw it on Instagram when I was on there the other day. They were talking about that it's it's not going to be an on premise anymore. But then KKMS, they'll let us know, where it's going to be. But anyway, everybody, we appreciate everybody for joining us today. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. When you like the content, do the thumbs up and like it. It pushes it. The algorithm pushes it out for other people to see, so that helps us, get our videos and stuff out there, and then get more subscribers. So please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. Yeah, we'll get back with your comments. I was answering a few of them. You did too. We were answering a few of them. I was doing that yesterday. Actually, I did some today too. So we do get back to your comments. We appreciate you for joining us on Tit for Tat, a little this and that.
Yeah.